collide. High road roaring every night. Spotlight on Spurs, feel the fight. Spotlight on Spurs, hearts ablaze through the cheers and cloudy days. From the lane to glory's flight. Spotlight on Spurs, shine so bright. Echoes rise when we take the field. This is passion, nothing concealed. Through the tackles, joy ignites. Spotlight on Spurs, burning lights. Feel the tempo, sweet and wild. London's warriors never mild. Every challenge we endure. Spotlight on Spurs, loud and pure.
What's up, guys? Luke here from Spotlight on Spurs. What a week it has been for Tottenham Hotspur. Just when you think, yeah, we've got a 12-day period, there probably won't be a lot to speak about. Ange pops a lovely little interview in. Frank goes and gets himself sacked. Pochettino comes out with a load of quotes as well. Absolute, what Spurs, eh? Just absolutely a mental basket case club. Chris is with me as always. Today, we are going to do a call-in show. It's open for anybody to join, whether you're a YouTuber, whether you're someone who's in the chat, whatever it is. And it's literally the floor is yours. Come on, discuss exactly what you want. We've got questions we can ask you about what's currently happening at Spurs. You guys can come on and just ask us questions. You can kind of just come on and have your own therapy session. And obviously the chat and me and Chris can join in. So we will be having a little chat amongst ourselves and obviously with the chat as well in terms of what's happened this week. And then I'll get the link in the chat. And as I said, you'll be welcome for anyone to come in and join. There's only two rules. One is that you need to be on camera, and the other one is that you need to be respectful to us, but also the chat as well. If you've got a problem with someone's opinion, absolutely fine. We debate, we speak, we discuss that, but nothing personal. There's no personal attacks or anything like that. So, Chris, thanks again for joining me, my man. How are you doing?
I'm all good, mate. I missed last week because I was in with the Tottenham medical team and
injury crisis hit you as well,
mate,
right?
It was only a broken hair strand or something. I ended up being out for a week with a cold or whatever it was. So it's always good on that front. But back fighting fit, and yeah, just been a busy mental couple of days for being a Spurs fan with everything that's gone on, and yeah, it's just trying to keep up with it all. I'm constantly finding myself checking Twitter at every hour now to see if there's any updates, if there's any news. But it's strange because, as you say, a lot has happened, but it still doesn't feel like it's anything positive. I still don't feel like I'm jumping for joy. So, yeah, strange world at the minute.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one until you know what's next, right? Obviously, we don't know what's next. Plenty of links. Plenty of managers already distancing themselves from what we can gather. But listen, let's start with the first thing that sort of happened this week. Obviously, Pochettino had his interview on the High Performance podcast, I believe it was. Man, I've never known someone to be so in love with Tottenham. I don't even think fans are in love with Tottenham as much as he is. He's literally the manager of the host nation of a World Cup that's coming up in a matter of months, and he's still on podcast talking effectively, just gushing in love for Tottenham Hotspur. I know that you was a massive believer in Harry Kane returning back to his old stomping ground, but what was your thoughts on the podcast and obviously Poch's potential return as well?
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I have seen snippets of it all, and it's like he's trying to romanticize us, and he's trying to take us back to them years ago when he was in charge, and we all was probably the closest we ever felt as a club with the fans. We was all so connected. There's probably never been, not in my recent time anyway, there's been a period where for the I think he was there for 2.5 years, and it just felt like the club, we didn't win anything underneath him, but it was just like everyone just loves every game that come up. It was like, I need to watch this game. I don't care what's going on in my life. I have to watch every Spurs game. And it was just an absolute joy. It was something to look forward to. Whereas I think since then, we've not always had that. There's never been we've not had many joys apart from Europa League final probably. And so I think in his head, the way I see it is he has got unfinished business. And I feel like he wants to deliver it, not for himself, but he wants to have that moment with the Spurs fans where we lift the trophy and he's there with the team and he can jump in with a crowd. He can do all that mad stuff and the bus parades if we have one of them as well. Like he can tell that he just wants to deliver that for us. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe you can tell me, since he took the USA job, before then, I know he's always mentioned about he'd want to win a trophy with Tottenham, but has he ever sort of been on record this much? Because my sort of thinking is, has he took the USA national job and then sort of gone, oh, I don't really fancy this. If I can get my way back into club football, Spurs would be the way I'd want to go.
I think he's always, in terms of the America job, I think it was always only for this period. Like he was never looking at that as a long-term thing. But he's mentioned on numerous occasions about his love for Spurs and that he wants to come back. And but it does seem to almost be ramping up. Like, as I say, the last question, I don't know, as I say, I know you've watched some of it, but for anyone that hasn't watched it, the last question was effectively, what's the one trophy that you want to win? Now, if he's in a European competition, you would expect him to say that the one competition he's in, you would expect him to say that's the one he wants to win. So naturally, you would expect his first answer to be the World Cup, and it wasn't. It was the Premier League and Champions League.
Yeah,
and it's like it's really, really straight. Like if you got to think of it from the other side. If you're an American fan watching that, it's almost like he's already looking at what the next step is. Like he's already dreaming about going elsewhere. So it is a bit of a strange one, but I suppose on the other way, if you look at it, he's never hidden his love for Spurs, right? It's not like this is an unknown. It's not like it's something that's come out of the blue that people are not aware of. He's always said that he wants to come back. I think he said it pretty early on after he left. And he's kind of reiterated it at different points.
He's also not pushing to like, I want to be at Spurs now. He's never once said he's ready to chuck in his current job to come to Spurs. I don't think we'd even if he turned around to them and said, look, I'm ready to go. I want to go and do this now. I don't think he'd even get the chance to come out. So I think he's obviously not hiding his emotions and the way that he feels and what he wants to do, but he's not. I think he is doing it in the right way, where he's sort of saying, look, I'm not saying I'm going to be the next Spurs manager, but Spurs is where I would like to go back to at some point in my career and achieve things with him.
Yeah, he didn't. For anyone, as I say, that hasn't watched the interview, he didn't actually say that he wants to come back to Spurs. Like that wasn't the statement that he made. What he said was he wants to come and win the Premier League. Like he feels like it's his destiny that he's going to win the Premier League. And then he caveated that by saying, "I don't know with what club," right? And then the whole Spurs thing. Obviously, he spoke well about Spurs. But it was one of the last questions was, who is your favourite club? Who's the favourite club that you've managed? And not just him, but what actually happened was Pochettino was supposed to give the assistant's answer, Jesus, and he was supposed to then give Pochettino's answer. So they was going to try and guess whether they were right, and they both put Spurs. So it wasn't as straight down the line. Like
one's not said I want Man United, and one's gone Tottenham, and they're going, hang on a minute, what do you mean? It's just yeah. So, and as I say, they do what all managers do, whether it be in press conferences or whatever. Read between the lines. He's saying his favourite ever club was Tottenham Hotspur. Jesus is saying that his favourite ever club was Tottenham Hotspur. They're both saying that they both want to win the Premier League. Like you got to read between the lines on these things. He can't, as the America boss, come out and say, I want to manage Spurs after my contract ends in the summer, because everyone will be like, so you're not even focused on what's going on now. So exactly,
as I say, I think he's unfairly judged on some of the Chelsea stint, because of the last 6 months he was very, very good. His record was superb. But I can also understand why other fans are saying, don't return, don't go back. Obviously, Chris, you wanted Kane back, so I'm assuming that your opinion is not, don't ever go back. but would you take him if the option now was, say, a interim right now? Would you take him back in the summer? Would he be your first sort of number one target, even if you had to wait 6 months or a couple of months?
I think the trouble is, and we're probably going to touch into it a bit more later on, is that I just feel like the ownership, it doesn't matter. We bring Pochettino in. I think Pochettino smooths over a few cracks that the fans, because again, that romanticist, that brings us back. That we all want to be at the games again, because you'd want to be there with Pochettino, and it would just be that feel good factor for us. I would take him back, because I feel, me personally, and maybe some of the fan base as well, just want to get that relationship back with Tottenham. We want to be able to tune into all the games. You want to get to the stadium as much as you can. It pulls you back into loving your club again, because I feel like whether it's nostalgia or whatever it may be, it's there. Whether it's the right thing or not, we won't know until we do it. It would probably, I think, when you look at who could potentially be another option, if I feel like we are going to get an interim, whether it is Heitinger that steps in for the rest of I think it's 12 Premier League games and then the rest of the Champions League run. I know, like, Harry Redknapp said he's up for it. Tim Sherwood said that it'd be an honour to take it and do the job, and he can do the job. And I think what he said on Sky Sports News as well was very good, where he was saying Spurs don't need someone that's going to just come in. They need someone that's going to come in and put a rocket up these players and be like, listen, yes, you're good enough. Get them the confidence up, but also let them realise that you're in a slump here. Like, this needs to change to next game. We haven't got 3, 4, 5 games to try and get it right and then start winning. This needs to change as of the next game. So I feel like someone with that sort of personality needs to sort of step in and do that. But if that was the case, and then we are looking for another long-term successor in the summer to come in after the season's done, who else, apart from Pochettino, is there that we could probably go for that fills us with joy and we go, oh yeah, get him in. That's who I want as a manager.
What, in the summer?
Yeah, who would you? Is there anyone else apart from Pochettino? Obviously, Pochettino for most of the fan base will be that. Again, yes, we'll take him back straight away with open arms. It'll be done. But is there anyone else sort of in that top tier that would get you excited if we was linked with him, and then you could see that there was reports that there's further talks?
I think it's a difficult one, because essentially why a lot of players and a lot of managers, it seems to be like a waiting game now. That's why United didn't appoint a permanent manager.
Yeah,
because everyone's now waiting for the World Cup. Poch becomes available. There was rumours around Nagelsmann potentially finishing at Germany. Then rumour was that Tuchel would be finished at England, because that was only supposed to be a short-term thing. So it's really difficult to understand where you're at. Don't forget, the manager landscape could change massively, because if rumours are correct, then Pep Guardiola could be leaving Man City. You've got Maresca currently out of job now. Xabi Alonso's apparently waiting potentially for that Liverpool job, which means Slot becomes available. So I think that's one of the reasons that so many managers are waiting, but also clubs are waiting to make the decision. I think with Spurs, they were pushed into a corner where they had no choice but to act now, because something has to happen.
Yeah.
So I think Tottenham's perfect sort of understanding was that they would wait until the end of the season before they done anything. But it's just, I think the West Ham the West Ham game where they were winning, and they were winning till right the last second. I think that really shook the boots of Spurs, going, hang on a minute, this is a lot closer than we potentially think it is. And same for me. I don't think relegation will happen, but that game shows you just how close you can be unless you act, and that's exactly what they've done. So I think it'll be interesting. I think Poch is probably, when I was saying on a stream this week that if you take away the fact that Poch used to be here and you actually look at the way he manages football clubs, he aligns with a lot of Spurs. So Spurs always want to have youngsters from their academy playing. Well, Poch does that. Poch develops players, because a lot of fans will say, look at the team Poch had. They'll forget that actually Poch, not just Poch, the players themselves as well, but they developed under Pochettino. Rose was a fouled left winger who become one of the best left backs in the Premier League for sure. Kyle Walker developed and become one of the best fullbacks in the league, possibly ever. all of these players developed under him, which is another thing that we want to be able to do. Spurs fans love attacking football. They love pressing. They love a Pochettino style. So if you actually looked and was writing out what you'd want in a manager, I think Poch follows a lot of those. The one big one is that he never really got over the line at Spurs, which is absolutely correct. But I think the big thing we need to realize is we're not at that level right now. We've not got to get a manager that's going to get over the line because we're nowhere near the line yet. Let's worry about getting to the line before we worry about getting over it. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's one big thing with Poch that I think he unites. I think he brings a sense of optimism as well, which I think was severely lacking under Frank. And yeah, so I think all eyes and all avenues sort of lead to Poch, but that is a perfect plan, right? And Spurs don't often do plans, so there's no guarantee of that. Just in terms of Frank, and guys, we are going to put the link in the channel, in the chat in the next few minutes or so. We're just going to, as I said, give a few opinions on what sort of happened this week, and then we'll get you guys on, and you can kind of come on and give your own opinions on it. For you, was sacking Frank the right decision?
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy because you can see he just looked. It was like Ange towards the end of the season last year. You could see that it was just taking a toll on the geezer. He's in the press conference and he's just sitting there and he's getting asked these questions, and you can tell that he's just like, oh God, just like get through this basically. So yeah, I feel like for everyone again, it was probably the right thing to do. It's got to a point where West Ham seem to be kicking on now. I think with Ange, it was a bit different. I did watch his interview that he done with the overlap, and he did mention that when he was in a relegation battle last season, it was like 13, 14 points clear we were at one point. So technically it wasn't a relegation battle, but finishing 17th in the Premier League is never good. You don't want to be associated with that. So I think it's a lot closer than some people would like to have realised. And I think the last result that West Ham had, if they would have got all 3 points from that game, I think the majority of the Spurs fan base would have been thinking that, like, wow, it was free. I think would have been down to 3 points. And that with our fixtures and the way that we're playing, that's not a million miles away. That's round the corner, because I don't see where we're going to get wins from. So yeah, for me, it was the right decision for everyone. And hopefully we get someone in who is going to turn the fortunes around, get the confidence flowing with these players, change up the tactics and change up the style. There's a lot of rumours that I've heard that have come out about how Frank was sort of trying to set the players up, and players were a bit confused about what he was trying to do, and it wasn't clear what he was trying to achieve with tactics and formation. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. We'll probably find out sooner or later if that was true. But yeah, right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this happens everywhere, right? And it's the same thing going to Ange's interview. Obviously, when I joined, I was backing Ange, and I felt he would get us over the line, which he done. But let's just be clear, everyone has their own agenda in football. They have to. Like Postecoglou's not going to come out and go, yeah, I got so much stuff wrong. I didn't want any of these top players. I wanted the youngsters. Like there may be an element of truth, but obviously you're only getting one side. They're not gonna sit there. I see some of the names that he's said that he wanted. Now, he might have been told very early on those players are not available for another reason. It might not have been down to ambition on the board, but that is going to be the way that he's going to agenda his sort of conversation and everything else. But yeah, I think in terms of Frank, I think it was something that needed to happen. I thought West Ham was the turning point. I thought that was the game he was never going to return from, and he kept coming back. I think the City thing kind of kept him alive because we had that second half. But I feel like if that would have carried on in the first half, he would have probably been gone then. And then it was almost like treading water. And I think everyone on YouTube was basically saying the next video for before or after a game is going to be, is it like Thomas Frank's last game? Is it Thomas Frank's last game? So I think the inevitable is here. But I think it's very, very clear. And I think it's very, very fair that you've had Postecoglou, you've had Pochettino, both do interviews. You've had Thomas Frank get sacked. And I think it's very, very clear there's a common denominator for all three of these managers. And it's that they didn't get the sufficient backing. Now, some got sufficient backing in terms of the amount of money spent, i.e. Postecoglou had a load of money spent, but it was completely spent on youth players, young players, players to develop. And Postecoglou's never been that type of manager. Postecoglou's a win now manager. That's exactly what he does. He gets his squad in, he revamps it. And then in the second season, like he's told everybody, that's when he goes and delivers and they win things. Frank, you could argue, has had just as many first team signings as actually Postecoglou had. However, there were clear issues with this squad that we still did not rectify, which means for me, he didn't get back. And then with Pochettino, I don't think anyone needs to have that conversation. I think it's quite clear to everyone to go that amount of couple of windows without signing anyone and get to a Champions League final. He obviously didn't receive the sufficient backing. So one common denominator is the ambition of the board. Obviously, you can sort of move people around. Vinay's come in, Levy's gone out, new ownership in terms of the model that there is. But I think Postecoglou hit the nail on the head in terms of you can tell that these conversations that these board members are having is not, we want to go and compete. We want to go and win things. We want to be top of the league. We want to go and sign the best players. This is very much we're happy doing what we're doing.
And if we overachieve, then it's even better, because that's what I feel like we've done since. I mean, Pochettino definitely overachieved with the squad that he had. And I think from there, maybe had the wall pulled over our eyes a little bit, and probably our expectations went straight up. We were like, well, if we can do it once, we'll just keep doing it again. If we can challenge for the Premier League, we should always be challenging for the Premier League. And then that ambition, and then, as you say, with the managers that have come in since him, Mourinho, Conte, these are, again, win now managers, go and buy the players that they want now to improve the team, not just to potentially be good in 3 years' time. Because at the minute, what manager is going to want to sign a player that he might not even see in 3 years' time, because he might not be manager of a club? And that is the trouble as well. And you're buying these youngsters when we should be looking at the academy first and saying, do we have someone in the academy that we could probably bring in and funnel through and get some game time to, and spend that 40 million quid on someone? Again, it's a very similar conversation we had to Tell the other week. 40 million on Tell. He's not going to come in and change the team right now in the summer, when you could have kept Mikey Moore, who I think would have been just as productive as what Tell's done, maybe even slightly more productive. And you've got 40 million.
It goes on to this point here, by Hodgod. My issue is that Enoch went ahead against Vin and Lang. That's the rumours that have come out, is that they decided they wanted to keep Frank, and then all of a sudden the ownership above them have come in and gone, absolutely not. Well, surely if these are the people you've got in to run and make your decisions, you would then back what they say. But obviously that's not the case. We've already got two people joining us, two people you'll already be familiar with. The Richarlison fan himself and Rain as well. Big up, guys. How are we doing? I hope you're well. Let's start with you, Eugene. How's things?
I'm out. If Rain is on, I'm out.
He can't take it. Boys. He can't take it. It's this is the impact I have on Eugene.
Hey, we got boys. Good to be on, Luke. Chris, good to be on, guys.
Thanks for coming on, guys.
Good to see you.
Rain, how you doing?
I'm doing well, mate. Doing well. Busy. Interesting times. Eugene, it's been ages, mate. It's been ages. It's been absolutely ages since we were on together.
Sorry, there's some background noise. Is it you, Rain, or is it somebody?
Oh, it is me. Yeah. There we go. Thanks very much. Sorry.
I'm doing you guys' job for you.
Rookie mistake. rookie mistake. That is. You see. I was watching the Arsenal game, so it was very, very, very close.
Yes. I had a running commentary from the WhatsApp group. I was having a little look down. It was going all a bit chaotic. I kept peering over, looking at it, going, "Oh, great save!" Oh no, it's like being there. It's better than Gary Neville, I must be honest.
But the I know you're going to ask some questions. Didn't it all feel inevitable? It's felt inevitable for quite some time, and I think the concern for a lot of us is that we feel like something else is inevitable, and everybody's talking about it, and it's just how do we get here?
It's crazy, right? It's absolutely madness. It was like sleepwalking into. I obviously, you guys are on YouTube as well, and in there quite regularly, and just we was constantly having the same conversations. It was like, yeah, maybe not this week, but next week. Yeah, but next week he'll go. All right, it can't get any worse. Oh, it did. Like it was just felt like we was constantly doing this, guys. We've got another 2 people that have already joined us, so thank you very much for the support. We've got Marlon joining us from Spurs Kings, and we've also got Blake over from Australia, my man. How are we doing?
Evening, everyone. Yeah, great to be here with you all. It's kind of like getting your bag of green when you play for the Australian cricket team. It's a truly great honour to be here with you all, and yeah, great to talk Spurs. It's obviously never a dull moment in the Tottenham Hotspur community. But it's great to be here, and big ups to you, Luke, for running such a great channel.
Thank you very much, my man. Marlon, it's all thanks to you, mate. You're the one that, well, I don't know whether it's thanks to you, but you're the problem that brought YouTube to me.
You've unleashed him.
So
I blame Chris, really.
Honestly, I'm the one that actually probably encouraged him a bit too much to come on and do it. I didn't realise he actually was going to go through and do it.
So I blame you.
I'll take the blame.
I had him pushing me. I had Marlon with the platform, and here we go. Yeah, guys. Obviously, I just think this is a little bit like a therapy session in terms of. I feel like we've been doing this for weeks now, but I think this week particularly, I think it was so ironic that we had Frank being so pragmatic, being so defensive, almost celebrating that we wasn't 17th, and then the other 2 managers kind of coming out and talking about aiming and trying to be better than what we are and everything else. So I just think it's interesting to kind of see what everyone else is sort of what their opinions are and everything. So Blake, I know that we spoke offline about certain bits and pieces. If you want to start, I don't know whether you've got just a rant you want to have, whether there's questions you want to ask the guys. I'll let you do your talking, my man. What are your thoughts on Spurs currently?
Yeah, it's an interesting period for us. Absolutely. It's one of those situations where, I even was talking amongst friends last season about are we in danger of relegation? But then you look at on face value, we were 16 points clear of the drop at this time last season. So I think it's safe to say that, and going on what Big Ange has said in his recent rant as well, I think it's safe to say that they just put the queue in the rack last year, whereas this season we are dangerously close to that relegation zone, and it's a worrying sign. But in the words of my fellow countrymen as well, at some point in time I'll be replaced by John the Pragmatist, and then you can all revel in it. And I think it's absolutely what happened. He predicted it a long time ago, and we're now sleepwalking into a relegation.
That wasn't actually about Spurs, though, was it? That was about that was about the Aussie team, was it?
Yeah, it was a bit of both. Yeah. I think it was towards the Socceroos at the time, because we were going into a World Cup against Chile, Germany, Spain, I think it was, all in a group, and the Australian media, it's football's not king here. Like that's very clear. But I think I remember him saying something along the lines of, well, I can be pragmatic and sit back against these clubs, but I want to make our country proud. And I think in a way that translated at Tottenham, because he was the only one out of all of these world-class managers that we had he delivered a Europa League, which was absolutely fantastic. And I think he absolutely spoke the truth in recent times. We've got all these on boards around the club. It sounds like to dare is to do, and that's what the fans want. That's what we as fans want. That's how we've always supported our team. I've been a Tottenham supporter for the better part of 14 years now. A pair of brothers moved out here to Australia and they asked me who I supported, and I said, I don't really have a team. And they said, why don't you support Spurs? Maybe that wasn't the right move at the time, but...
Yeah, I don't know whether I'd call them friends, mate. I might say they're more like enemies if they've turned you into a Spurs fan, but if you want to say friends, that's entirely up to you.
Yeah. No, they're good men. They're good men. But at the time as well, Harry Redknapp was our manager, and I just used to love getting up at all hours, watching him get on the front foot and get us playing great football. And touching on what Chris said earlier, I think the expectation was that we're always expected to overachieve, and it's always sell ourselves short, kind of undersell ourselves in a way. And then expect big things, expect to challenge for the league, expect to go after Champions League spots year after year. And it's just not practical if you're not willing to pay the big wages and get the quality players in that we deserve as fans. And, I'm obviously overseas, but for you guys attending on match days, you pay through the nose for ticketing, and fans have suffered that for a very long time. Yep. And it's kind of like going into a fancy restaurant and getting served up a Big Mac in a way. It's just, it just doesn't seem right. And I hope the ambition changes, but I did. And the last thing about my rant, sorry, it's been a big one, guys. And, but yeah, I really appreciate you giving me the airtime here. But I think Ange said it perfectly when they were going into that Europa League final, and Daniel kind of in loose terms said, oh, geez, I don't understand why everyone's so calm. Like, we've been in this situation half a dozen times, and I never feel calm, and this is the most calm it's ever been. And, maybe that contributed to the way that we went into cup finals and didn't feel that we could achieve it, because we just didn't have that dare and that risk attached, and that comes from the head of the snake at the top.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know whether anyone caught part of what he said there, but he said whilst sitting there having a coffee the day of the Europa League final, Daniel Levy's comments was, I've been here in finals and semis 9 times and never won. I mean, come on. Is that not just exactly what's wrong with this club? But to be honest, I think Frank was right about some things, and one of them being it's Rain's fault. It's fans like him that turn up week in, week out. It's all your fault that we're as low as we are. Blame the fans. That seems to have been Frank's stance. Rain, what was your thoughts as being a match going fan to hear some of the comments that Frank kind of had for us?
I mean, it's very difficult because we're a very tetchy fan base. We're a long suffering fan base. And considering the amount of boos that happen in the stadium, I'm stunned that I've never, and the amount I talk to people, right? that's like I talk to people all the time. I take the train down from into White Hart Lane's station, and I just talk to people constantly because I go on my own. And considering how much booing happens, I've never met a fan who does it. Never, everybody goes, "Oh, I understand why people." I would never do it, but the thing that as soon as Frank came out against the fans, that's it. It was done. It was never going to be a good match, and it wasn't a good match with Frank and the Tottenham fan base. I try to get this across to people. There is a culture within every single football club, and that culture is not set by anybody in the club. That culture, unless they're a massive personality, that culture is not set by the coach. It's set by the fans, and it's carried through the club with the fans through generation. And our culture, I always say culture, and people ask, what is Spurs culture? And Ange said it in his interview, didn't it? Free-flowing attacking football. If we don't get free-flowing attacking football, Conte can serve us up a 4th place. We can be in 5th, and we will revolt. We will revolt against pragmatic football. And so, what does Enoch, Levy, whoever, what does the board do when we've had the most attacking manager that I can ever remember? And I have gone back for Dermot and I are doing like some research on some shows, because we thought like you said, Luke, we thought it'd be like a little bit of downtime for 10 days. So we thought we'd go and do some research, go and do some shows. And I've gone and had a look at some old Pochettino, some old games, under Poch. The one-touch football, but it was nothing like the free-flowing football that we had under Ange, and no wonder so many fans fell in love with it. And then we went classic Spurs. We go from one extreme, and the next manager we get is exactly the opposite. That was the problem with that man. That's why that manager failed. Therefore, we need the exact opposite of that manager, and that's the way that it's going to succeed. And the fans, you've said it. I'm not actually sure that Frank was that defensive, if I'm brutally honest. But there's definitely a perception of it. There definitely was timidity. And Spurs fans just revolt. Spurs fans will not stand for it. You can get out of our club if you're not going to play football the right way. And it's plastered all around our stadium. That's what it's about. So him coming out and saying things about the fans was one thing, but at Spurs, you need to play football the right way or we're not having it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Big up, Blaine. I'm sorry if you took it personally, mate. It's just that every time you're in a stream, you seem to dig me out over something. I'm just glad Eugene's here to take the brunt this time up. Big up, I'm a member for 5 months, and then he's come in and dropped a super 5 gifted subs. Blaine, you're the man. Thank you very much. And Eugene's been very kind. Slagging him off as usual. This is just how it works, guys. It's all love. It's all happiness. Big up to you. Marlon, over to you, my man. What are your thoughts? We were sat on a show the day after the night of the game saying, no, do you know what? He's probably going to get Arsenal because it's a free hit for anyone. If we lose, it's expected. And then a few hours later, he's got the chop. The board made a big decision for a change. Was you shocked by it?
Not really. I actually messaged Ricky straight afterwards, and I said I was going to say it on the show, but I didn't. That interview that he had, I was going to say his body language was like he knew it was his last. And when I said he went after the ball a little bit,
yeah,
that was the first time he's ever done it. Yeah, I knew it was his last.
Yeah,
and everyone was coming out. Yeah. Everyone was coming out with, it was so bad. Like he'd never spoken like that before. And I know he just come from the TNT one, which was the funniest interview in the world. That his look at the end was just brilliant, because when you actually go back to that interview, they never asked him one question about that game. It was all about his job.
Yeah.
So
and that followed on from the week before when it was something like 33 questions and 29 were about Romero and his statement.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised. I'm glad. Look, the problem I've got now is that the board, have had the balls. We're now 2 days in, and we don't know what the fuck's going on. Now that's
same thing happened under Ange, right? Do you remember we was all in limbo, going like, "What is actually going on here?" Like we don't know. It wasn't a case of being sacked and someone being appointed. It was like a long wait.
It should have been in the first statement. So, which tells me this is now where we're getting a close look at behind the scenes that they haven't got a clue. They haven't got a clue at the moment. The fact that Heitinga, if it is going to be Heitinga to the end of the season, that should have been sorted now. The fact that they thought, the other thing is, if the first time they thought of sacking him was on after Tuesday's game, you should have been talking to people weeks ago.
Yes.
that was prime Levy. Levy would always be speaking to people weeks ago. Whether he was right not to or not to, that's a separate question, right? Because I hate the guy. I'm so glad Ange said what he said today, because anyone who wanted him back, Levy's part of the cult. I'm sorry, but he's part of the cult, and he always will be. And he was there up until September. Whether he had much of a say in the summer, it's a separate question, but he's part of this. But Frank, for me, lost us probably after Chelsea. The Van der Ven and Spence thing, he'd lost the players by then. And for me, I can officially say this, but Vinay is dealing with a smarter fan base, and we won't accept his bullshit. Unfortunately, we're a different culture compared to where he was before. And he's going to have to learn very quickly that we won't accept his Arsenal bullshit. Arsenal are just a totally different club. And for Thomas Frank to be talking about Arsenal all the time and his love for them just says it all. Really just says it all. However, as a fan base, we've got to change as well. We're we've really got to look at ourselves and say, and we will support the club. We're going through thick and thin, but we've allowed some of this for the last how many years, and we've just accepted it. As a fan base, we have. Okay, because the board have literally fed us crap for so long, but yet, if we went against them, we're a split fan base. We're not all on the same page. And that's our biggest problem right now, because we're talking about the culture, but the culture right now is time's moved on a little bit with the Premier League. It ain't the same as it was 20 odd years ago. Okay. So there needs to be that happy medium with the football. You have to have that happy medium. But we got our trophy last year, because for the last 5-6 years, it was all about we had to get our trophy. Yeah. We've got that trophy now. Okay, so no one can beat us with that. No one can beat us with that anymore. However, Pochettino coming back and everyone thinking it's going to be the same, I think needs to have a realization it's not going to be. And he's coming back to a worse squad than the one he probably left.
I've seen a lot of people say that, but how many people actually think that Pochettino is going to come in and do what he done? Because I don't think many fans do really generally think.
No. In the back of their mind, because in the back of their mind, they think that's what they're thinking. They think that they want to go, I want to be happy with the club. But what they're actually saying is, I don't know who said it, but we always look. The problem with Spurs have to always overachieve.
Yeah.
Okay. So if they're always over, that's what everyone thinks Poch is going to go back and do. And this is the problem. Ange, if Poch is coming back with the same board. Ange said it today or Tuesday. Yeah. The culture of the board is they don't want to win. They just want to keep their head above water. That's what I got from that today. And don't get me twisted, yeah. Ange said a lot of right things, but when he mentioned the players and then he said, but I've got 3 U team players and he got Solanke, I'm looking at it going, but you accepted it. You actually went and accepted it. You can sit there and moan all you want, but you went and accepted it.
What's he supposed to do, Marlon?
He's supposed to go and demand what he wants, because if he goes and accepts it, he then can't sit there and blame them later because he's gone and said.
But I think he did.
I'm sure was it not in a press conference though? He come out and said, "I'm happy with the transfer window." After it was complete.
It was only in January where he said, "If they keep carrying on like this, then it's going to set us back." But you can't sit there and go, "Okay, yeah." I think you have to be tough about it. Conte was, as soon as Conte was messed up, he done this. He threw his toys out the pram. Mourinho did, and I know Ange wanted to do it slightly different. But the fact he goes and the sentence I didn't like, he wanted Gay, Semenyo, and Mbuemo. Yeah, he didn't get them, but he still accepted Gray, Bergvall, and Solanke at the time. Like
I know what you mean, but I'm pretty sure in the pre-season he turned around and said we need to get a centre back in, and that's when we got the last minute bid for Gay or something like that.
No, that was January.
So it was January. I think that's when he came out and said, "I need a centre back."
A little too late. That's 18 months into your reign. Too little, too late.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I don't think football clubs work the way a lot of fans think it does. I don't think managers may say, look, I really want this player, I really want that player, but I think it's more they get given a list. This is the player. So they want a centre midfielder. Here's the list of centre midfielders we can ascertain. Here's the ones that we
this is
can
what I'm
get.
saying. But he's accepted. But what he's done, and this is the bit, and that's where you're spot on. He's been given a list, and they've probably gone through. I'd sit there and say, and Bremo was probably a no-go. Semenyo was probably
that was what I was saying. Yeah.
Semenyo was probably realistic at the time because you got to think this is like when we were half decent. And Gay, again, I don't think he was realistic at that time because I think he was linked with Liverpool and all those other clubs. Right?
It would have took a lot to prize him away. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, I'm so glad Ange did stay in the end. Okay, and did what he did. But at the same time, he's gone in that all blaming the board and everything. But at the same time, he needs to take some blame as well.
Oh, 100%. I think this is absolutely bang on. 100%. This is bang on. Ange spoke loads of truths, but
go on.
But yeah, and
they have to play a corporate game.
Yes, they have to. And I did say this actually. I did say that. But you can't.
They can't come out publicly and. But it should be treated behind closed doors.
Yes,
it shouldn't be. It shouldn't. I know we want it to be public. We want everything to be transparent. But unfortunately, it's a big corporate beast, and
he's come out afterwards, and he's gone all gun blazing. But he's taken no. He's in that interview. Oh, yeah. He said that, but he's taken no responsibility on what actually he's part to blame. He's like he changed the. I know he wanted to change the culture, and I love him for that because I thought that was the one thing he tried to do. But the problem that I've got when he mentioned the players is where I kind of went, but hold on here. You've kind of got to take some responsibility for this, not just. And I get it. Every manager's done it. Okay, but Jose got to a point where he went, I wanted not Bastoni, that was Conte. The whole Joe Rodon thing, where whoever he wanted a central defender and got
that was Conte. That was Conte. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was Conte.
So at the end of the day, we kind of get it, but to sit there and the three players, to sit there and mention those players, I just thought, what are you doing? There's just no point. Every manager.
Yeah, but there's always going to be a bit of spiel to it, isn't there? There's always going to be a bit of spiel to it. Guys, I just want to say we've got the best name on YouTube. I will never ever go against this. We've got the best name on YouTube joining us, El Tel Cockerell. How are we doing, my man? Been a while. How you been?
Yeah, it's been ages. Good evening, everyone on the panel. Yeah, it's been a long time. I've not been on YouTube for fucking months. I've just been hearing what you guys have got to say, and as my name says, I'm destroyed, mate. Completely destroyed.
Well, do you not think Frank should have got the sack? Do you think he should have stayed? What are your thoughts on it at the moment?
I've been going to all the games this season, and honestly, at the Newcastle game, I even moved my seat because there's so many seats available. I went right to the top of the stadium, sat right at the back, right at the top, and I just watched, and I left on 70 minutes. I knew from the football I'd watched on Tuesday night, there was no patterns of play, there was no forward passing, there was no relationships, and I knew we weren't, when we were 2-1 down, I knew we weren't going to do anything more than the rest of the game. And on 70 minutes I left. It's the first time that I've done that ever in my lifetime, being a Tottenham Hotspur supporter. And to me, going to all the games, I think the worst game I've been to this season was Chelsea, when we lost 1-0. It should have been 10-0, and we offered absolutely nothing. Chelsea didn't get out of second gear. We were awful. But against the Newcastle team on Tuesday night, although we scored a goal, I thought we were worse than we were against the Chelsea game, because Chelsea put out a better side than what Newcastle did against us. And yeah, it's the first time this season I've had to leave. And I actually thought on the train home, and it took me, from leaving the stadium to getting home, it took me nearly 4 hours. And all the way from leaving the stadium and going home, I just thought to myself, he's going to go in the morning. He has to. From what I've observed tonight, there is no more. There's no more. Whatever rope he had, it's gone. And he's going to go. But we've been supporters for years and years. I'm lucky, and I'm older than most people, and I've seen us win a fair few trophies. I've seen us play really good football. Even before Pochettino was our manager, I saw some really good football from us in the 80s and that. So I've been lucky to see that. But then we've had a lot of shit served up at Tottenham. And looking around at the moment, I mean, Postecoglou doing that interview today, he's not said anything we haven't all heard in the past few years. It's all right bringing in another manager. I heard what Marlon said about Poch and stuff and that as well. For me, Poch coming back, all that does, it means that you play attractive football with him. He's not going to have the same players. Times have moved on. He won't have the same players he had when he managed us before. But, you know, what is it? What do we need at the club? And, you know, the club is rotten to the core. Players, managers, medical team, the coaches, the board. It's rotten to the core. You need to blow it all up and start from scratch. But that's going to take a long time. And we are not prepared to take a hit for a long, long time. We've been... I mean, last season we got the cup. We won the Europa League, and yeah, that was absolutely brilliant. So look at this. What are we now? February. So
yeah.
So May the 21st and May the 23rd, 2 days that we'll never ever forget. One winning the trophy, two the parade. Roll on 9 months later. Look where we are.
Mm-hmm. So can you believe that the recorded attendance for the Newcastle game was 59,000 people? Can you believe that? Were there 59,000 people there?
Yeah, there were empty seats, right? In all the stands, there was probably empty seats, but there weren't like swathes and swathes of empty seats. So in the row that I was sitting on, there was probably about 4 seats in the row, and the row I was sitting on, and my row probably had 30 people in the row. So yeah, there's only about 4 seats spare. As the game was going on, people started leaving at different points of the game. I mean, some people might have left half time, and some people may have left during the second half. By the time I was leaving, and I walked all the way from the west stand through to the south stand, inside the stadium, not outside, and I could see people leaving when I was leaving as well. So
I mean, on the telly, it looked like there were swathes and swathes. I didn't go. I was absolutely furious. Luke, you've got a season ticket, don't you, Luke?
No.
You don't? Okay, right. So I was absolutely furious. I put my ticket on the exchange weeks and weeks and weeks ago, and I only learned a couple of days before the game that they don't list the tickets on the exchange until all of the general sale gets sold out. And all of the general sale didn't get sold out. I don't think there's not a chance there was 59,000 people there.
Kipper says that obviously I don't know how true this is. Mate works in control room, said there was about 40,000 there, and at halftime it was 1,000 down. So it did feel like it was less in terms of the capacity. Eugene, coming over to you, my man. You've been very silent, which is very unlike you. Is everything okay?
Yeah. No, I'm just, because if we start talking, I don't want to interrupt anybody. You know me. No, I've been, it's so weird because, I've been Frank out even before we hired Frank, as you well know, from all the, chats we're in. But for some reason, like when the news hit, it like I don't feel as happy as I thought I would. It just feels like a funeral to me. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like I don't get the satisfaction. Maybe if it would have happened a couple of months ago, maybe I would, but now it just feels like a funeral to me. Like the problems are so big. Do you know that feeling when your issues are so big, you have no idea where to start, and it just becomes overwhelming? So it's not just one thing. And that's how I feel right now. I never thought that I would experience a relegation battle. Like last season, I knew for a fact we're not going to be relegated. I mean, all this talk was nonsense. This season, however, like we're in it.
Yes.
And just looking at what's happening, it's really shocking. I'm in disbelief. And you know me, I'm a contrarian, right, by nature. So I argue both sides. But I really want to go at defense, a bit. I know it's taboo. I know we say, oh, Tottenham fans, we have certain expectations, the way we play. Like, well, it's actually, first of all, the whole Frank fiasco made me realize the next manager or in general, I don't really care much about tactics. I think I realized that what I want in a manager or a big club manager, first of all, needs to have charisma, personality, presence, and the balls to hold players accountable. As Marlon said, when Frank didn't discipline Van der Ven and Spence, when Romero was still a captain, I'm like, okay, he's done. You cannot have a manager who's weak, and you cannot have board that's weak or a CEO that's weak. People in charge who are afraid to make tough decisions. So we can talk about tactics all we want, high line, low block, all that stuff is great. But first of all, you need a figurehead, a manager who inspires fans and who inspires players. If you look at Pep, at Klopp, even Arteta, they stand up, fans look at him, players look at him, and he says, I'm that guy. I make decisions, even though that might not be true, but there's a figurehead, and those managers, they hold players accountable, and maybe even the whole defense accountable. And me talking about defense, I find it shocking that what Ange said, we all have known for years. This is not new. The only new thing, Levy was a boogeyman. We all went on Levy, and now it's ENIC. But it's the same ownership. Yet in the stadium, the protest gets 100 people, right? Fans sing the name of the manager that hasn't been the manager in how many years and who has won nothing at the club. I love Poch like anybody else, but singing the name of a manager who won no trophies, for me, that's strange, right? If we're talking about, Sir Alex, I get it. If we're singing about a manager who won us a treble or at least a trophy, I get it. Singing Poch's name, that's weird. Same fans who want to hold managers accountable, who sing, you'll be sacked in the morning. They sing nothing about ENIC, right? And then there are all these arguments about Romero. And again, Luke, my thoughts about Romero talking a big game, pointing at everybody else except himself. So when a club has a captain like that, who doesn't take accountability of his play, I don't care how bad the manager is. I don't care how bad the board is, the transfer business. When you're a club captain, you act accordingly, right? Show me other captains from the past who are center backs, John Terry, right? Van Dijk, Puyol, Barcelona, any other captain who cannot organize the back line, who runs around like a chicken with his head cut off, who wins every header in the attacking third in that box, but cannot win a header in her own box. So for me, that's weakness both from the manager who doesn't discipline him, but also a player who thinks he's bigger than the club. And our fans who sing you're getting sacked in the morning, who want every manager sacked, they say Romero's world class, he's elite, we cannot lose him, right? So I think as fans, we need to hold everybody accountable. The managers, like Ange, like Frank, everybody else, the board, who fans are wishy-washy on, and on the players, especially the leaders. And until, as fans, we're consistent, I think not much is going to change. And that's why for me, like, just the issues are so, as fans, we have PTSD. We see a good player, I'm like, oh, we want to keep that player. We cannot lose anybody else. But just sometimes we need an open heart surgery, with the manager, with the board, with the players. It's just our issues are so big.
I definitely agree. I think this is a shared responsibility. Rain, I know you want to come back with just a few things that Eugene said, but I've got to welcome in Mr. Box Office himself. Alex, how are we doing? You okay?
Yeah, Luke, you haven't really invited the main event recently, you know what I mean? I've not seen you for a long time, you know what I mean?
There's a reason for that, Alex.
Oh, Marlon, behave yourself, bruv. I big up your channel every single week, bruv. Yeah, with asthmatic, bruv. Behave yourself.
Should big up
bruv.
mine.
You know what I mean?
Should big up mine because if he does, that's why you do.
I big you up all the time, bruv. You know what I mean? Just remember that. Just remember that. You know what I mean? With Spurs Kings TV, you should be subscribed to it, by the way. You know what I mean? By the way, firstly, just a warning to everybody who's in a very awkward disposition. Just a warning out there. I ain't here to sing Kumbaya. So if you don't like it, sorry.
Forgive me when I fall off my chair, Alex.
Oh, cool, bro. Yeah. If you feel like that, that's up to you. That's not my problem. My point is just making myself known in the next 5 minutes.
He's going to speak for 5 minutes but not say anything.
Oh, really? Okay, let's get straight to it then.
What has someone said that's upset you, Alex? Come on.
Well, Luke, I mean, I know there's a lot of Ange fans there that are getting really happy because of what Ange has just said. But I think Eugene's just said it straight away. Ange has not said what any other manager's not said. Yeah. I'm not being funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know? It's like, it's the reason why when people laughed at me and said I'm negative, why I don't back a manager, well, the reason is because I didn't believe in the managers that were coming in after Poch, which ironically, again, I'm repeating myself again, if you watch Mr. Box Office TV or known me for 5 years, because I've done this for a long time now, yeah, right? I said I never really liked Pochettino, but he proved himself. He proved himself to me. You know what I mean? Like Villas-Boas proved himself after the first year. This is how it is, you know what I mean? You know, it's fascinating how, you know, everybody's bigging up Ange for winning. Yeah, he won the trophy, but we all know why we won the trophy. It wasn't because of his management style. It was because of Romero and Van der Ven. And if you don't believe me, Van der Ven said it in the bloody overlap. He said it already. He said it. So, and on that promise, to be honest with you, you might as well put Romero and Van der Ven as player managers at the moment. You might as well do that. Being honest, big up Kuva. He gave me that suggestion, by the way. Hope he's doing well. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, apparently that's what changed. That's what won us the cup. Apparently,
Romero should be the manager of Argentina. He cares more about Argentina than he cares about
Eugene. I'm being honest. I'm sorry. I'm being honest. I'm just being honest, mate. You know what I mean? You know, you don't need to mute yourself, brother. You can interrupt me. You know what I mean? I love you. I love you.
One of the things that I was going to say to Eugene is me and Alex both at the protests at West Ham. You know, we were one of the, you know, we were part of the 200 who actually bothered to turn up and say, you know, we don't think this is good enough, whilst everybody just walks past and has a look.
That's why I respect you. That's why I respect what you're going to say, because you actually do it. So
yeah, and the shocking thing is, you know, because I have this out with Sean, and the shocking thing is, I speak to people, and I speak to so many people who absolutely they're on that train. They're on the Enica rubbish. They're not delivering for us, but they won't go the extra mile. They won't go to the next step, which is just go and stand with these people and make a statement, like me and Alex did before West Ham with a whole load of other guys. And it's a real shame that more of us don't stand up, because otherwise things ain't changing. Sorry, Alex.
No, you're absolutely right, Rain. And it's for me, it's like I said, and I've got to give you credit, Luke, right? Because you said this. You said, and I remember you saying this, and I don't know whether you said this or not. Don't get used to it, though. Don't get used to it, right? You said about identity. We don't know what our identity is, and you did say this. I know you said this I think you said it on Spurs Kings TV. To be honest with you, I do think you said it.
The channel we watch.
I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna do Ange. I'm gonna take it whether I said it or I didn't. But yeah,
but I do think that's a problem. I do think that's a problem. And I have said to Sean. I did say to Sean. I have said to Mia, because she did pick up. She was backing Daniel Levy. I think Daniel Levy at the moment is looking like a guy that is looking very good at the moment. Because,
No, he's
like
not.
I said,
Don't even bother with that.
well,
no,
I'm being no.
No.
If you listen to what I say before
because everyone's. I've been hearing it from people all week, and I'm like, no, everyone's got short-term memories. This guy only left in September. Yeah, there was no win. This is the first window we had without him. Okay.
Yeah, but
this is down to him. Yeah, for his last 25 years of how he's run the club as well. This is on him as well.
I agree with you, but
right? But us Spurs fans have short-term memories.
No.
We do because everyone's going to sit there and go.
Let me finish my point.
The only difference is that he probably would have sacked Frank weeks ago.
Okay? Yeah, but if you let me finish and make the point, and I hear you. I hear your point
because everyone keeps coming up with Levy stuff, and I'm just like, nah, sod it. Now I have to cut everyone off now because people are saying some stupid stuff. And this
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying about Levy.
You praised him. You praised him straight away. But
I have praised him because the thing is, though, mate, is that at the end of the day, when you look at the people that are in charge at the moment, right, and this is their fault, right? When they did the dirty on Levy, they didn't consider when you've got somebody that leaves a job, right? I do apologise to people that I've repeated myself again because I've said this before, right? Okay, when someone leaves a job, right? You have somebody to stay, be with them so they can pass on their role, basically, yeah? Right? Pass on the roles that they were doing all that time. You get what I'm saying? Right? Well, no, but that's what they should have done, basically, yeah? When they thought they were going to let go of Levy,
they couldn't.
What they should have done.
Levy was never going to do that, though. Because they wanted him gone because of whatever reason, and we're not privy to it. But Levy was never going to stay and go, oh, you know what? You want to get rid of me? I'm going to stay here and introduce you what I've been doing for the last 5 years. It was never going to happen. So, unfortunately, it's always going to be the case that Levy was going to go abruptly. He was never going to go on his own terms. If the rumours are to be said, he was trying to sell the club but stay. That was the problem. He was trying to get rid of the Enoch and still trying to stay at the club. Enoch weren't happy. So he's not going to stay. And unfortunately, the new lot have come in. They didn't realise the job that Levy was doing because Levy had his fingers in so many pies, okay, that they've gone in and gone, oh shit, we can't deal with this.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you just made my point.
Yeah, but
if you let me finish, you would have made that point.
But the problem is that you're sitting there saying you've got to stay, but why has he got? He's never going to stay. It was never going to happen in a million years. So they've had to do what they've had to do. And unfortunately, because we've had shit for how many years, okay, we've let Enoch have come in. And because they don't know what they're doing, it's clearly they don't know what they're doing. But we want success now. We want everything to be fixed now because of what Levy has done. So this lot have got no chance in hell because these are all new. Okay, because it's not Lewis and Enoch. It's not Lewis and Levy. It's now.
The only thing I'll say about that is that they've been his bosses for 25 years and been happy with what he's delivered, all right?
No. Lewis has been his boss. These kids, right, or however you want to call it, they've got no experience. And I said this the other day, they've got no experience of how a club is run. They've got nothing at all. Okay, so they've come in and everyone's expecting them to know exactly how Tottenham Hotspur and a football club is to be run. Because it has been Lewis and Levy for the last how many years? Not if the kids haven't been there. They've come in and they've gone, oh crap, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, but that's the point.
I'm half with you. With you, right? And you see it, or you see it over and over again. Anybody who's worked, anywhere has seen somebody who's been in a job for ages, and they leave, and the company has to hire 2 or 3 people to replace them. Right, you see it all the time, but the reason I'm only half with you is because I think they're trying to fix it. I think they're actually trying to fix the problems.
They are.
They've got Mawson, they've got Lewington. They messed around with Paratici, and he went, "I'm not having this," and he shut off. But the reason I'm only half with you is. They've taken too bloody long. Yeah, they're operating at corporate pace. Yeah,
and that's
with 3 and 6 month notice periods. Mawson, we signed Mawson 5 months ago from Man City, and Man City did what we didn't do with Paratici. They went, right, mate, You're going on gardening leave, and Tottenham aren't going to get you until your notice period is up. So you can just sit there, and they can just not have the role that you're filling. They can just suffer. And that's what we've done. We've just not had somebody there. And unfortunately, football doesn't work at corporate pace.
Exactly.
Football goes week to week, day by day, not 6 months to a year. Yeah. If you don't get it sorted today, you're done.
But one more thing, Rain. So look, sorry, just real quick, Marlon. I disagree with you also a bit. ENIC is a corporation, right? When you say ENIC succeeded, they're making money off the club. When, like, I was hearing Viv is a Tottenham fan, or whatever other 8-year-old guy is, they do not care about football. They care, like, the reason for the fallout with Levy, the rumors about the hotel and the money spent, they still care about the non-footballing operations, right? So, like I said, we'll see if this regime is different on January 1st. Levy is gone on January 1st. If we bring in a signing or two, we know, okay, this club, Viv, Lange, whoever else, Vinay, they're serious. It's a different regime. January, it was different because we didn't sign anybody. So personally, there is no evidence to show me that anything changes. I was told Sherrington is in, things are going to change. Colin is out, things are going to change. Levy is out, things are going to change. There is no evidence to say that ENIC is ENIC. They're a corporation that care about profits. They hired Vinay and Lange, but they did not listen to them.
No, so Lange was hired by.
Can I just come back on this, please? Can I just come back on this, please? Because the main event needs to start say something here. The point I'm making is, though, no, because I'm sorry, Marlon. If we thought things had changed in January, right, for the transfer window, when we saw what happened with Paratici again, I never liked Paratici because I've never liked him. And if people don't believe me, go and ask Jack from the Irish Hotspur, because I was arguing with him all day long about it. Yeah.
No, we don't like that.
So the thing is, what I did know about Paratici, doing my research on this guy, he ain't no mug. Right? He's a leader. He's the number one. Yeah. Right. Daniel Levy, a number one. Yeah. Right. Vinay was a number 2 at Arsenal. Right. Lange was a number 2 at Aston Villa. That was so useless, right? They demoted him, right?
It's the war chest, Alex. Our war chest that I've been hearing about for a decade.
He was director of football, and then we demoted him to joint director.
The problem is, and this is what's so bad at the moment, so bad. Paratici knew that Frank was useless, and he said, get rid of him. Very early on, right? He said, Igor Tudor, temporary manager, get him in. Whether you believe that rumour, doesn't matter. But the point is, though, I know Paratici, he's saying...
Paratici managers, though, don't get twisted.
Yeah, I get you. I know this.
I get we wanted from
but my point is, though, let me finish the point, and then you can come back and waffle on afterwards. My point is, though, but I still love you, Marlon, you know that. My point is, though, yeah, right? The point is, though, they said no. And as soon as they said no, that said to me, we're in banging trouble right now. And then the worst thing is, right? The worst thing is, if you believe what Paul O'Keefe is saying, they never wanted to sack Frank in the first place. They got the owners to do it.
That was what I was going to say. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So the rumor is
no manager for 2 days, for nothing to be announced in 2 days to say who's going to be in charge. You can clearly see they didn't want to sack him. And Vinay, I know everyone's going because Vinay wanted to give the whole Arteta treatment, but the problem is that I always said this: he could have been the Unai Emery of the situation. He was never the right fit for the club, and that was start from day one. And they didn't have a plan B. The only reason why they got rid of him is because of us fans, because they were on a hiding to nothing. But now we're stuck.
Marlon, right? And that's why I'm wondering, like, where do you get that right now? Viv and her brother are different from Joe Lewis. It's the same people who care about the same thing.
There is a difference. Joe Lewis, look, you got to remember, Daniel Levy, Joe Lewis had experience, because when we first started this wasn't £1 billion company. it was slightly different.
Which is a problem, right? How many people start off being owning a small business, and then all of a sudden now they're owning a 2, 3, 4 billion pound business? Like,
and they've been born into this. So for me, who said that these guys would come in and be successful? This is the issue, and this is the problem. Why they probably need to sell it more than try and sort this mess out, because they can't do it. They clearly can't do it.
And that's our point. I think that's what Alex is saying too.
By the way,
but he started off with I miss Daniel leaving, and I'm not having that.
I think you're missing the point I'm making though at the moment. The fact is, Daniel Levy would have not let this continue. He would not let this continue.
Yeah, but right?
And what did Paratici do? Paratici is an alpha. That's why he's gone. He wanted something. He was absolutely clear that that's what should happen. They said no, and what did he do? He went, "Okay, I'm going to go and get myself a different job." That's what he did. He said, "See ya, I'm off." And now
get a better job.
And now, but he's now a big fish in a small pond, which I think is effectively what he wants. Right? He wants to be the dog. Yeah, and now they've neutered Vinay. Right? And is Vinay? Have they basically scuppered any chance that they've got of the CEO? I think Lange, you can forget Lange. Lange is wet, right? He'll just do whatever anybody tells him to do.
But the rumor is they want to bring someone alongside him again. That's the rumor.
Honestly,
if you take a back step, right? If you work backwards on this, right? If we're to believe everything that's being said. Thomas Frank was on a short list of 4. There was 30 different stipulations on the manager that they were going to bring in, and Vinay and Langer went for pick Frank. I think Iriola was on one of the 4, but I can't remember who the other 2 were. But they plumbed for Frank. Frank's come, and a lot of supporters will say Frank was always the wrong fit from the start, and they felt that he was the wrong fit from the start. There's a lot of supporters that are going to say that, and that have said that. Now that the guy has been terminated, my eyes would be on the people that brought him in, because it was the wrong appointment. So my eyes would be on the people that brought him in. Now you look at the people that brought him in; they're the ones that couldn't even get rid of him. It just shows you how rotten the club is. And this is what I'm saying. It's not just about one person here. There's a whole multitude of sins at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And until you get rid of these multitude of sins at the club, like I said, bomb the place, start from scratch.
Look, our issue with Levy was he was a micromanager, right? He did too many things. He was not a footballing person. So let's look at the board or at the kids. Who is the decision maker? If you have footballing people at the club, like Lange and Vinay, forget about what we think about them. If they're the footballing people, and Paratici, either you trust them to make the decisions or you sack them. You cannot make a decision, overstep, and make a decision for them, right? Any company, when you hire people, you let them do their jobs. If you don't think they're good enough, sack him. That's it. Vinay's a lame duck. Right, Vinay, like we know he doesn't make decisions. Lange is a lame duck. We know he doesn't make the decision. Viv and the brother, I have no idea if they make a decision. So is it the board? They just sit there and vote on every single decision? It makes no sense. Either you listen, or you sack Vinay and Lange tomorrow and bring in somebody who said, "I don't know anything about football. I'm gonna let this person make my decisions for me," and you live and die with that. Right now, we're all over the place. It's a mess.
Eugene, that's something that you've got to do in the summer. That's something, unfortunately, you've got to do in the summer right now. We're too far gone now, unfortunately. They've got to make a decision on the interim. For me, at the moment, again, I don't even know if this is going to work. Mason. And I don't even know. I'm that bad. It's that bad at the moment. I don't even know if it's going to work anymore. You know what I mean? Because I think we're that bad at the moment, right? That, you know, I can't say anymore at the moment.
It's bigger than football, Alex. It's bigger than football. Forget the football. It's about running a successful organization, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of where we finish the season, eventually these changes have to be made.
Oh,
Eventually,
yeah,
you need to be run
100%.
like a proper
I'm with
organization.
you. I'm absolutely with you. I've been saying it for quite a while now that we need to change the whole thing and get rid of things and just get an identity and the proper director of football and the manager. And you've got to decide who's the most important person here. Is it the director of football or the manager, right? If it's the director of football, he's the main guy, then you just get coaches, right? If it's just the manager, you just have the manager and that's it. I think you should have the main guy as the director of football for me. And then you just get coaches that play the same way, right? That should have been the same way that we should have done when Daniel Levy was in charge, because I think that's what he wanted, but it just kept on going wrong every single time. So
he only got it right once.
Yeah, you're right.
He only got it right once when he got a director of football in. And well, I could say once, I'll probably say twice, but the other time he was gazumped by Chelsea. When he had Yol, when he had Yol and Arneson was the first one, but the one that really worked for him was Mitchell and Pochettino.
Yeah.
And a lot of people sleep on the fact that, Poch was what, 2014-15, 2015 to 2019, 4-year cycle. And that's what you get from Mitchell signing all those players, right? And that's the DOF cycle. It's those 5 years, because that's the length of a contract, and that's when a player is 22 to 27, 28, and then they start to decline. So actually, a lot of people sleep. A lot of people talk about Poch, but actually, you should be talking about Mitchell, because Mitchell set Poch up.
And it was, do you remember? You got to remember, it was when Mitchell left. It was because the club wouldn't let him to go and recycle, which then left. And Poch, in these last 18 months, not being able to sign no one, and two, and I know a lot of people do forget this, but the football in that last 9 months was absolutely dire.
Exactly.
But that's because the players were turning off.
And that's because the players were declining. And that's why I always look at it and go, when people want Poch back, it's kind of a case of, yes, Poch was good when he was with Mitchell, but has he ever really been the same without him?
No. Well, that's why I don't want Poch back in these circumstances. I don't want him back in these circumstances because it's not going to work. He'll be the same sitting duck like last time. There's no point.
And this is my thing. Like for Poch, for me, if it was a different ownership, I'd probably go, you know what, go ahead. But I don't want Poch to come back and ruin his legacy, because for me, and I said this the other day, you got to remember, people wanted Poch gone. What suddenly changed for those people that wanted Poch gone and now want him back and singing his name at the stadium?
It's embarrassing.
Because we've gone so far down, and the state of the football has gone so far down that we're so far away from this to dare is to do malarkey. We're so far from it now that all we want is we want football. We want to see patterns of play. We want more attacking football. It's what we now want because we've been served up this crap.
But how you know you're going to get that with Poch if the players, like you just said, the players have to be at a certain level.
Yeah, right. But like I said earlier, Marlon, you're not going to have, if Pochettino came back, it's a different era. That time's gone because we had different teams. We were playing against different teams.
Right.
You're now playing against bloody robots. You're playing the Premiership now. You're playing against robots. You're playing against players at every position. They've got to be athletes. They've got to be 6 foot. They've got to be prepared to, programmed to be in certain positions. There's no mavericks. All that's gone out of the window. So it'll be different. But the thing that Poch would give you over the manager that's just left now is he would give you some form of attacking football. And I think the fans are crying out for attractive or more attacking football. If you won a game, people would rather win a game 4-3 than watch us have no issue. I mean, some of you guys go to the games, and some of you watch it on telly. Against Newcastle the other night, I did not see how we were going to score a goal because from open play this season, we've looked so bad because we've got no pattern to play. It's as if they're all
to be fair, Tel, we ain't got any players. As soon as Audebert went off, we had no players.
Don't do that.
So
don't do that, Rain. Don't do that.
But it is absolutely true.
It's been the whole season.
Absolutely true, and there are reasons for it.
It's been the whole season.
No. We are we are where we are, not because of Frank, not because we are where we are. I'm very, very clear because of 6 years of poor investment. And I don't mean money, I mean quality. Poor investment in the playing squad. And we are
Worse
now.
than Leeds?
But this
Worse than
squad is
Leeds? Worse than
Okay, we
Brentford?
lost.
Worse than
Rain. I was at
Sunderland?
the
squad.
Bournemouth
The
game.
squad.
Rain, I was at the Bournemouth game. We lost 1-0, right? Some of you might have been at that game. We were atrocious. I was at the game we lost to Villa 2-1 in the league. Again, we were atrocious. I went to the Liverpool game. We were atrocious. I keep going back to the games. Fulham, atrocious. Wolves
should have
at
been
home,
5 down at West
atrocious.
Ham in the first half.
Okay,
Wolves at home, atrocious.
You're all
West
missing
Ham
what
at
Rain
home,
is saying.
atrocious. It's not just the game against Newcastle. The football that we've had all season,
Okay.
we've all looked like passing. The players look like passing ships in the night. We cannot attack. We don't look like we're going to score goals from open play.
But you're missing a vital point with what Rain is saying. All of you have missed it because you're talking about this season. Okay, let's go back into last season with the recruitment as well. Oh, hold on. The last 6 months under Range, the football was absolutely dire.
It was crap.
It wasn't freely attacking football.
But Marlon, but who were we playing? With Archie Gray and Bissouma at the back?
No, but,
there was
yeah, but Rain
AFCON,
said
Asian Cup.
the squad.
That's my point.
The squad. But you're all talking about this season. But what Rain is saying, the last 5 years has been a problem. And so what's happening is when we're getting these squads, the football's not been great because what's happening is we have a good, slightly 11 that can do okay. But once you start taking players out of that squad and you're starting to rely on Archie Grays of this world and all them players, you're going to get served up this football.
But
And you end up with Spencer. You end up with no left-hand side, right? So Bournemouth. So the reason why we got absolutely done at Bournemouth was because we had no left-hand side. They tripled up on Kudus, and then they did us. They did us on a couple of breakaways on the left-hand side, and we were done. There was nothing we could do against Newcastle. The reason why we look so neutered is because we've actually started to look a little bit better with Udogie on the left-hand side. Shock horror, a player who's got a left foot who can actually play on the left side. It doesn't mean we look all of a sudden like prime Barcelona, but we've started to look a bit better. Our left back, our only left back, which has been a problem since the summer, right? That we've got no left backs and no left wing, gets injured against Man United. Oh my God. We then play Spence, who's not a left back. We've got no left-hand side. So what did Newcastle do? Newcastle is smart enough to actually deal with that. So
there's no balance.
We have to accept that Frank did loads of things wrong, but this is not Frank's fault.
But the difference, Rain, it
depends when you say fault. I don't think everything is on Frank. I don't think that's fair, but I think you can definitely say that we are a better squad, whether it is Romero, Van der Ven, Vicario have played virtually every single game. Bentancur played most games. Gallagher's then come in. Palini has been available most of the season. Kudos obviously did get injured, but then again, I was told last year that was because of Ange overplaying players, continually playing Kudos, continually playing Porro. So I think that there needs to be, like, if you're apportioning blame, I don't think you can say it's 100% Frank. I think that's completely unfair. But
we played half a season. We played half a season without a striker, unless you count Richarlison for a few games and Mwani, who's a complete dud. Right? We've had no left-hand side. Everybody wants to talk about the good players that we've got, and we've got some good players. But what we're not talking about, and like Eugene mentioned, Leeds have a functioning squad. They have players who can play in certain positions. They put them in those positions and they let them go. Right?
Answer me this
we are playing Gray at right back. Right? We're playing Spence at right back at left back. Yeah, we've got Odebear who's 20 or 21, and we're playing him at right wing. And I don't think any of us here are going to say that Odebear should be our starting right winger. We're desperate, and the reality is we've got one or two centre backs left. We don't have a functioning squad. That's the primary problem.
So Rain, answer me this, and again, you can call me deluded, but last season, even when we were losing all these games, I personally felt, without the injuries and with a couple of good players, we would do okay. We squandered a ton of chances. We had a lot of chances to score that our strikers wasted, and there were dumb mistakes at the back. So I felt like 2, 3 top players and no injuries, we would do okay. This season, I feel like it doesn't matter who's healthy, it doesn't matter who comes in, given the way Frank plays, the double pivot of Palhinha and Bentancur playing through Kudus, not playing through the midfield, the way he's setting us up, I do not see, if we kept him for one more season, and let's say next season we're all healthy, Kulusevski is back, Madison is back, we signed 2 players. Personally, I do not see how we get better, how we improve. With Ange, again, I could be completely off and deluded. At least I saw he put the players in positions to score. We were making passes. There were some patterns of play. We were in positions. We just couldn't execute. Now we're not even in positions to do anything.
I think it was gun ho though. I think it was gun ho.
No, I'm not saying it was good. I'm saying I could see certain patterns of play right now. I'm not seeing how better players would drastically improve our situation right now.
I think there's a certain amount of nostalgia going on about Ange's time. I'm a season ticket holder. I remember looking at our club and seeing lots of players who couldn't pass to each other and were playing walking football. That's not new this year. That happened last year as well. And unfortunately, I'm not blessed enough. I can't do midweek games, so I didn't get the Europa League run. I got the 4 games in a season run. That's what I got for my £1,000 season ticket. So that's the same now. I'm seeing the same now. It's mostly our very, very, very poor recruitment. And let's face it, the medical problem doesn't it definitely doesn't help. It's bonkers. But that's where we are. That is what needs to be fixed.
I think everyone's writing their takes on this because I don't rate most of this squad anyway. But I do think Frank wasn't the right guy in terms of the way we played. That's why I said at the start he needs to prove himself. You know what I mean? I didn't like Ange, and I will say it how it is. You know what I mean? I just couldn't take to him, and I don't give him too much. I gave him credit because he won the Europa League because he said it, but the circumstances of what happened, I know that wasn't. That was, and I didn't like the fact that we're 17th. I didn't like it. You know what I mean? I think that's not helped this season. I've got to be honest. You know what I mean? So,
well, it depends on what you mean by that, because I understand what people are saying in terms of it didn't help because we lost so many games, and absolutely granted. But we also got to the Champions League, and it meant that Xavi Simons and Kudus were signed. Palhinha was signed. If we didn't get into the Champions League, these players are not coming to Spurs. Xavi Simons is not coming to Spurs.
but let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. Xavi Simons hasn't been. Well, I mean, he's getting up to speed a little bit now, but he hasn't been.
That's because Frank's let him off his leash.
You know what I mean? But we'll have to see what happens.
Listening to Frank. That's why.
Because he's got Solanke. Because he's got Solanke in front of him. He's got a striker in front of him.
Can I ask you a lot of questions?
I made that point already about that. I love that. I mean, I've said that before as well. Big up to you.
Can I ask you a lot of questions though?
The point is though, and Palhinha, I do agree a little bit as well, but I do think that it hasn't helped, and I think the dismissal of the league has been a continuation of this season for me, and I think that's why we're going downhill. And I've got to say as well, and this is not my facts, this is Sava's facts, right? Over the last 3 years, annually, our position would have been 15th. So we've been gradually going down.
Yeah, but that's not annually. That's not season.
Well, I know. But the last 3 years...
Yeah, but you can't take that because you could end up playing a team 3 times in that year. Like, you could not Leeds, but you could play 3 crap teams. You could be playing Arsenal 3 times in that year and one team once, like it was near the bottom. So you kind of have to take that with a pinch of salt a little bit. You have to do it on seasons. And if you do it on seasons, I think we were 7th or 8th.
Yeah. I agree there because it was the last 5 years.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask you lot a question because you lot were talking about the squads earlier, yeah? And I'm going to give you 6 teams. Okay, and all I want to know is, would you say they're doing as expected as they were this year, or are they doing a lot worse? So Newcastle, are they doing better or worse than we all expected?
They're doing exactly the same as when they were previously in the Champions League. They can't run in both them competitions.
Okay.
Fair.
Tottenham.
Worse.
That's worse. Yeah. Arsenal.
Same.
Better.
Well, I think they're doing better because people thought other teams would be doing better.
But
Do you know what I mean?
and they've got a massive squad this year. Yeah, you probably sit there and say that.
Yeah, I remember people. Sorry, I remember people laughing at Arsenal when they bought Madueke because they had Saka there already. But all you're doing is you're buying squad. You're not buying you're buying a squad. So you've got like for like. If you take Saka off, and you bring Madueke on, or you do it the other way around, that's strength. And so Arsenal have done it. People may not like it, but Arsenal have done it the right way. They've built a squad there. So
Okay,
they've
I'm
got
glad you said
players
that. No. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Chelsea.
About the same.
Yep.
Yeah, roughly,
right. And they've got massive squad, £1 billion squad. So you probably sit there and say Brighton.
No, they're not doing too well.
About the same.
Okay. Manchester City.
They're
probably they are doing well. If we're being
they're doing
honest,
better than last year.
The reason why I mentioned those 6 teams, right? Because those are the teams that have lost the most amount of players due to injuries this season, and only one of those teams is doing better because they've got a massive squad. And Chelsea have got
the whole point.
No, but this comes back to what comes back to what Ren said and why we're talking about last year. If you have the amount of injuries that you have and your squad is not equipped for it, that's 2 years in a row now. We're never going to be doing well, no matter what manager we bring in. And I think
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
And by the same token, sorry, can I just say, Marlon, you said something about 3 minutes ago, 4 minutes ago. You were saying that because of the winning the Europa League, we brought X, Y, and Z into the club, right? So we're now without a manager. Unless the miracle, we had a miracle last year, unless an even bigger miracle happens this year, we don't have European football next season. We haven't got a manager. When a manager comes in, what players will want to sign for our club? Because you're saying that on winning the Europa made us get these Simmons and Kudoses and the Paulinhas. Who are we going to get if we've got no European football next season?
And also, let's not sign Premier League players. You're going to have to sign Premier League, like Ange said on the overlap. He wanted ready now Premier League players. We're going to have to rely on that. You're going to have to sign people like Conor Gallagher.
But Marlon, like as you saw,
we've signed him already. I'm thinking.
The reason why I say Conor Gallagher, that's the sort of players that we're going to have to be very clever about next season, and you're going to have to pickpocket some of the clubs that are around us from their better players. That's how you're going to have to do it.
Again, who will come to Tottenham?
When it comes,
it depends on the manager.
It depends on the manager and who basically is the players you're going for. Because if let's take the top 6 out of it, the top 6 sides out of it, and probably Villa because they're probably likely to qualify for the Champions League. But if you went to someone like Brighton and went, "I want Matoma," for talking purposes, you're sitting there telling me Matoma won't come to us if we went out and got him, he would.
Yes.
So you've got to.
Yes,
you've got
I don't
to
think
Matoma's
coming to Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
He would.
But if you've got to be clever now about what you're going to do, the club need to show the rest of the Premier League. Actually, we are trying to do something here. But the problem is right now they're creating this reputation, and us fans, are moaning about it. Like everything that these players are going to come into, they're watching this. So we've now got to be clever and very clever about our recruitment, and that's the biggest issue.
Well, it goes back to identity, Marlon. It goes back to identity.
But this is why this is why the next manager needs to come in and be someone who can give that identity.
Yeah, but you need it has to come from the top, and that's why the director of football is so important. Because at the end of the day,
you say that, but Pochettino had Levy. Wouldn't say he's got some sort of identity because, as Ryan said earlier, he went defensive, attacking, and with managers, so it can be done.
But
Ange had an identity again, but the problem was that he didn't have the players to play that with that identity.
Yeah, but my point is though, Marlon. My point is, Marlon. Then, well, this is the point I've been making. You've got to make a choice. Who is the main guy then? Either the director of football or the coach.
I don't disagree with that.
And this is where you need either, because I think for me, Tottenham Hotspur needs a stronger director and then just have coaches. Yeah. Because we're going to always come to this problem if the manager, we're going to say, oh, this manager's for 5 years. And what if the manager's not doing well? We're going to have to sack him again. And who's making the decision to get a new manager in and making sure that manager's playing the same football that's, you know.
Okay, but on that note, just to throw that out there, what should be happening is that there should always be a short list of managers, no matter if you've still got a manager that's doing well, because you always need to move on to the next. That should always be the plan.
Yeah, but when you've got Vinay and Langer at the wheel, right? What manager are we getting?
Exactly. Thank you. Jose, thank you. Don't get used to it. You made my point for me.
I didn't say they were good. I'm just saying this is you've asked me what they should be doing, and this is what they should be doing. Unfortunately, they're the two that didn't want to get rid of Frank.
Yeah, but what trust and faith have we got in if Vinay and Langer are still there? Whenever we hire a manager, you know, whether it's now, whether it's in the summer, I have absolutely no faith whatsoever that they're going to make the right decision.
I don't have any faith in them at all. But unfortunately, we've only got them. We've only got them at the moment, and that's where my problem at the moment is. That's why I'm lost. I'm absolutely lost.
That goes 360 all the way to how we started with ENIC, right? Like if they're still employed, and if we do not trust them to hire the right manager and get the right players in, who will sack them and hire somebody else in place who we can trust? So it all goes back to the board, to the kids, to anybody. So, you know, they need to give fans some confidence. They need to give potential players confidence in the project. And the confidence starts not even with the manager, it starts with the director of football and the CEO. So if they have Vinay and Lange, and even as fans, we have no confidence that they can hire the right manager, you know, Mitoma or whoever the players are and their agents, they're looking at us and be like, what? Lange, Vinay, there's no way we're going there.
This is the same guy, by the way. This is the same guy that struggled to get Tell at Tottenham, by the way. It's the same guy that struggled to get Tell at Tottenham, by the way. It had to get Ange to actually persuade him. So this is what we've got as a director of football.
But you've also got to remember how many when ENIC came in, because this is the bit everyone else forgets, is how many managers did they have before they actually got it right?
Who would you say they got it right with, though, Marlon?
It would have been Martin Yole would have been the first one.
And was Martin Yole deliberate?
No, it wasn't, because he was an assistant. He was an assistant.
So, yeah, but do you remember what happened with that? Yeah, do you remember what happened with that? So Arneson wanted to bring Yole in as the manager, but Levy had promised Spurs fans that they were going to bring in a big name, and they went for Jack Santini.
Yeah, but the reason why I asked you was who's the next one that they got right? If Yole wasn't right, or we wasn't sure on it, who's the next one he got right?
Harry Redknapp.
But this is what I'm saying. But this is what, like, you're asking for the manager, and this is the cycle. Is that then the next one possibly is not going to be right either, because George Graham was the manager when they came, and they didn't want him from day one. And then the first manager was Glenn Hoddle. I think he lasted 18 months.
Yeah.
They didn't want Poch. Poch wasn't the one they wanted. They wanted Van Gaal. Van Gaal.
Poch was third choice.
Yeah, because the ball was the other one, weren't he? Thank God for that.
But this is why what I was going to say to Rain in regards to it. Again, I don't believe this is solely on Frank, and I don't think it ever is. I don't think it's ever solely on a manager, because I think all managers have been fouled one way or another. But we were in free fall. We would not I couldn't see a point being picked up. But even if we did pick it up, I just couldn't see it. So do you now think that we're still in this relegation battle, that we're still likely to keep losing games, or do you think a new manager is going to be able to get something out of this group?
No, I think as long as we keep losing a player through injury every single game, we are absolutely going to fall like a stone. And I've got a lot of beef with Frank. It's not for the results, or even actually really for the performances. I've got a lot. Yeah, absolutely. I've got a lot of beef with Frank for the 80th freaking minute substitutions. Absolutely does my head in, right? He used to bring players on, and some of them never got a touch, right? Bring them on earlier, and do you know what? Maybe we wouldn't have so many injuries. I do have a beef with Frank for the way that he spoke about the fans, but I think he was always going to fail, and he was absolutely the wrong person. There is a culture, and the coach needs to, because I'm absolutely with Alex. I think you need DOF and coaches. The coach needs to understand that culture.
Don't agree with Alex too often, mate. It's not a
But
we've got.
do you know what? I think you talk. Sorry, mate. I think you talk so much sense.
You're in a dark place agreeing with Alex.
No, you're probably wrong if you're agreeing with Alex. I'm just going to tell you.
No, I'm not so sure. But the thing that we get wrong, and the thing that Arsenal get right, is Havertz goes injured. They get Eze in the door 2 days later, and everybody goes, "Oh, Eze's a flop." Yeah, but you know what? They don't have to play him because they've got so many other players.
He done all right in one game. There was one game he played.
Oh, there was one game.
Yeah, we go in for Hincapié, and within 3 days is at Arsenal.
But
and
why,
everyone's
Rain? Why? But why is he there? Why does he go to Arsenal and not to us?
And people go, why is he gone to Arsenal? He's never going to play. No, but you know what? He might win a Premier League championship medal.
But how did it start? It started
tonight.
He's going to win. They're going to win something. They're going to win something.
He's the League Cup. That's it.
They're going to win something.
No, do you know what?
And
he's
going to get a medal.
They've already won a cup. They've already won a cup. It's
no, you know what would be the dream? If they finish second in everything.
but it goes back to money and to wages, right? They're willing to spend 60 million and high wages on a player to be on the bench, right? When we spend on a player and it's a mistake, we don't go back and replace that player for 4 or 5 years, right? So that's the difference.
Or ever, Eugene,
or ever. Man U, they fail all the time, or Chelsea. Next season, they go back and bring in a player. We sign Ndombele, mistake. We don't replace him for years. How many years did it take us to replace Kyle Walker? So Arsenal, they have a great first 11, so they have a luxury of filling in their bench. And they're spending money on the wages and on transfers. They don't bring Archie Grays in on high transfers, but low wages, right? What we do. So
I think that was highlighted today in that interview. What was what I really enjoyed was forget about the Ange part, because I think some people just forwarded straight to the Ange part. They sat there and they obliterated the ball. There wasn't one person that really stood up and went, no, I don't think it's the ball. They all went, it's down to their ambition. The facts
Roy Keane is fire. Roy Keane is fire.
He tries to hide it, but there is so much Spurs fan in him. He's like, no.
Oh yeah. You could, yeah. You can tell. Like when he mentioned it the first time, I was like, so that's why he always spoke about it. But now I'm starting to realize more and more as it goes on, he's such a Spurs fan.
Yes,
and he can't hold it in.
And you cannot tell me that after finishing 5th, even though we had a bad finish, and Mbuemo or Guehi or Semenyo wouldn't have come to us. They would have.
No, Guehi wouldn't have. Guehi had
I think Mbuemo or Neto, I think we could have gotten.
Yeah, so Mbuemo. So I thought this was actually quite, and I think a lot of people missed this. Mbuemo not coming to Spurs in the summer,
100%,
told you a lot about Thomas Frank.
I would actually go one step further than that, Marlon. I think you're right, but I'd go one step further. There was one player that made so much sense. Norgard.
Yeah.
Made so much sense because he would have started for Spurs. He would have been the starter for Spurs.
And so he didn't come with Frank either.
And he didn't come with Frank. And the rumor was that Spurs were interested, did put the bid in, and Norgard dismissed it and said, I'm going to Arsenal. Now, Eze was slightly different because there's a lot of arguments to say Eze should be starting in that team and find a way to play. Norgard knew he was going there as backup. You're going with the man he's essentially like his son, and he still went no. And that for me should have been a big telltale to go, look, the two big players didn't want to follow him. Like, that says a hell of a lot. And it's easy to look in hindsight, but that was the one. I think I tweeted it going, Norgard makes so much sense for Spurs. We won't do it. Christian Eriksen on a free. Don't bring him in. Do you know what I mean? So I just think that was a big telltale.
And that was a bar from Frank when he said he got Solanke and 3 kids. I'm like, yep, that was a bar, like for sure. That's exactly what it is. When people say, like, I hear, oh, but Ange spent 400 million, this and that. It's okay. If you break it down and take out obligations like Poro and the loans, and Archie Gray and Bergvals, and who actually came in also when Kane left, and Loris left, what to replace half the squad. So if we deep it and actually see who came in and the mythical war chest that we hear about every single season,
that's next window, mate.
How far we dropped.
Yeah, well, of course we'll have a war chest. It'll be in the Championship.
But that's the same. That's the same for other managers. That's the same with the other managers, though. That's the same with the other managers, though. This is the thing. This is the same with Pochettino. Pochettino had the raw deal, right? Because everybody says he had Harry Kane and Son. He made Harry Kane and Son. What? Yeah, he did. He did. Right? Because they're an underachieving team. They're underachieving. By the way, the same guy was playing at Wimbledon for 2 years as well, which people completely forget as well.
He made Harry Kane and Son. Come on, Alex. You can say he made the team, but not Harry Kane and Son.
He coached them. Because let's be honest here, no one thought that Harry Kane was going to turn into Harry Kane. No one thought that.
I wasn't on YouTube, so there's no receipts. I always said from the age of 12 he was
true, but nobody thought that Harry Kane was going to turn into Harry Kane. Nobody was telling me about Son. Certainly nobody was telling me about Dembele because he's more worried about arguing with Adebayo. Yeah, fighting with Adebayo. Yeah, remember him?
You know what, Alex? I think Son. I think a lot of people saw the potential in Son. It's just that Son just took some time to get used to England. Whereas Kane, I agree with you. I was one of them. I didn't see that, but Harry Redknapp saw the talent in Kane, and so did Sherwood. But it was Pochettino that unlocked him.
What happened?
And he's even explained it. Dele Alli, yeah, he had potential, but he wasn't the potential. This is why I don't listen to people that tell me about Tell. Like, is he better than that Dele Alli that we sold? Let's just be
clear here. Dele Alli, when he was 19, Dele Alli was there wasn't many 19-year-olds like him. Like at one stage, he'd had more goals, assists than Gerrard Lampard's goals all put together at that age. Like he was phenomenal. Like if he was in today's market right now, he would be worth.
Madrid, 100 million. But they wanted him.
But I'm going to tell you this now. Poch ruined him.
Well, I think if you remember rightly, as well. I think part of it was actually Son ruined them, because if you remember rightly, the year that he was exceptional, Son was in and out of the team, and it was only when Son really nailed down the left-hand side that's when Ali started.
It's the foot. So basically, and this goes back to Bielsa, the football they play causes. There's only a cycle. Klopp's the same. With it as well. There's a cycle of how many years that these players can survive. And that's why we saw a decline in Alderweireld, a decline in Vertonghen, because they got to the point where they'd been playing Poch's football for so long. And it's high-intensive football. The difference was with Harry Kane, and because everyone always goes, but Harry Kane survived it. Harry Kane was, because he's a world-class player at the time, he was able to adjust his game where he don't rely on the pace and having to shut people down as much as he was. That's why he survived so long. But when you look at the players that when they play that high intensity football, they don't survive very long. And Calvin Phillips, from when he went to Man City, because he played that Bielsa football for so long, he ends up, and they only have about a 5-year cycle, most of these players. And that's why if you bring in someone like Poch and, like with Klopp, when he had, after 5 years, you have to recycle these players quite quickly. Otherwise, they end up going in decline and your team performances go down. And it's always been a thing. But a lot of people and that's what happened with Ali. He'd been playing Poch's football for so long, he started to pick up these injuries. If everyone remembers, I know Eric Dyer had his injuries and it was his stomach and stuff, but even he started to pick up injuries, and you started to see players, but we weren't recycling them quick enough and bringing in players to replace them as quickly as we were supposed to.
I mean, I don't know, man. I think with Dele, it was too soon at that age, coming from nowhere and becoming a superstar.
That's the excuse that they wanted to portray, because Ali was still a good player, but what had happened was he'd been playing he'd come from the league. But he'd come from League One and then he was playing Premier League football. That's a massive jump in intensity that he has to, and his body's never been trained for it. And what ends up happening is we're not, and what ends up happening is in this system, in this football, is that when you're end up playing like that constantly, your body's going to start breaking down, and it's how you deal with it. Dele Alli probably didn't know how to deal with it, and that's why the problem was later on. He couldn't do the same things he was doing 3 or 4 years ago, and he's not the only one. He's just the biggest come down. When you look at other players that have played for Tottenham, all of them under Pochettino had a massive come down.
Yeah, Danny Rose fell off a cliff as well, didn't he?
Danny Rose fell off a cliff.
I think we put things down for like very singular as a reason, but it might be a reason. Exactly like I don't blame Frank for everything. That's impossible. There's a multitude of reasons why Spurs have finished where we are at this moment in time. It's injuries, it's lack of signings, it's a terrible transfer window. It's the
multitude of things.
There's
Andy started
so
to pick
many
up
things.
loads of injuries.
And I think Harry Kane would have gone on to be unbelievable under any coach. But also, I think Poch has brought the best out on him to make him get to that level. Do you know what I mean? Under another coach, he may have got even higher. We don't know.
No. I tell you what, though, and people might not agree with me on this one. Poch brought him to a level. Mourinho turned him. Turned Harry Kane. No,
Son and Mourinho,
Harry Kane was a striker.
Mourinho
turned him into a complete striker. And people won't give Mourinho credit.
Conte did as well. I think Conte,
no, but it was all under. If it was all under it was all under Jose, and because Jose said it in that documentary, he said, "You're a great player, you're a brilliant player, world class. I'm going to unlock you." That's when we started to see the assists.
And he unlocked Son too. Son's goals and assists came under Jose when they played on the counter. But
like, don't get me wrong. Kane was world class before Mourinho turned up, but he literally took him to another level that I never thought Kane had. And he literally Kane, and that's when the Kane dropping deep came into that whole equation, because Kane never used to do that. Kane was just up top. That's what we knew him as. And he dropped deep sometimes. He always had the passing ability. He always had it. It's not like we never saw it, but we never saw it as regular. And he became very clever.
I feel like it got to a point where you could clearly see that if Kane had pace in behind him, that he was influencing games in a better situation. Like, obviously that pace means that players drop off.
That came under Jose.
Under
Jose, and that's the interest. And that's the interest. And then, like that,
I think it's more mentality thing.
No, but that was the mentality, because again, you brought in a winner. Jose, like a lot of people, there were certain things Jose Mourinho, like people dismiss it. His football's crap. Don't get that twisted. But he was a winner, and he brings that mentality to certain players. He can't look after players that don't have that mentality. And that's why he tried to get into Dele Alli from day one. Do you remember? He tried. He absolutely tried. And he got like a little fix out of him, but then the injuries kicked in again. And that was the problem.
It's interesting that Postecoglou in his interview today turned around and said that Kane never played a competitive match for him, and he only had him for 2 months. And he said he's the best player he's ever had to work with. And he said he didn't even play a competitive game for me.
Well, that's not a stretch. I mean, he coached in Greece, and
to be fair, he did say that. He did say, I haven't coached at the elite level, but I mean,
Kane is the best number 9 in the world.
Let's be clear. So. That's classic Ange as well.
Yeah.
You know, there's this thing that I could have had, and it would have been amazing if I'd had it, but I didn't have it. But I'm just going to leave you. I'm just going to leave you with the.
It is valid for Kane, right?
We're talking about Harry Kane, aren't we? So it's just he's another person that said what Harry Kane was like. You know, what we're doing at the moment, we're waxing about Harry Kane, and Postecoglou waxed about him as well.
I mean, I truly believe that, what separates world-class players from good players, it's the mentality. I think a lot of the players have the skills, and they, but if you're a world-class player, I think under any manager, you're going to become really good. You might not hit that top level, but your mentality, like Kane, the way he practices just his mentality, he'd be elite, whether Poch is there or not. It's all about being given an opportunity, right? Because he almost never got an opportunity. So if we would have sold him to Leicester, who knows? But I still think he'd be a really, really good player. Son as well. Certain players, regardless of
question for everyone on the panel though. Question for everyone on the panel. Did we see the best of Harry Kane in his last 5 years under all those different managers, or did we see the best of Harry Kane under Poch?
Under Poch.
No, Jose.
I think it depends on what you're looking at.
Jose?
I think,
and that's the great question.
I think Kane at the end was by far a more complete player than you'd ever
under
seen.
content, Jose, Son, and Kane carried us. It was like
like when
under Poch, we had a great team.
They say about players like they constantly improve. Actually, that doesn't really happen. They might improve in certain aspects, but with Harry Kane, you can literally see year on year he's improving. He's getting better. He adds something into the game. Like even if you look at some of the games for Bayern now, this man looks like he's a number 6. Like when he's getting the ball from in front of the box and he's spinning these shots, these crosses out to the other side, particularly to Elise, it's ridiculous what he's doing. But I think obviously as he ages, you more have to put him into a structure and a system that allows him to flourish. Whereas when he was under Poch, you could kind of play him in any way you wanted, and he was able to kind of impact games there. But I think
he never missed the target under Poch. He hit the target again and again and again. And it helped that he just played as a 9 because he was always up there. I remember him destroying John Terry. I can't remember what year it was.
That was when he scored from about 25 yards out, no?
Yeah, he absolutely, he was performing and then he went and like single-handedly just basically ended John Terry's career.
Is that the New Year's game? The New Year's Day
I can't
game?
remember, mate.
5-3,
and he's just like, you're too old.
Mm.
I've got a question. For Eugene, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Who do you think is playing for us when we play Arsenal? Who are you? Who are we going to be able to put on the pitch, and how are we going to get a result?
Honestly, I don't know who's healthy. I mean, Romero is out, right? So is Dan still fit? I don't know if he's fit. Is he? Or
Nope.
No.
So Dragoshin and Van der Ven are the only fit defenders.
Dragoshin, that guy has to go back to Romania. He turns like
he's going
whatever.
He's going
so
Real Madrid.
Dragoshin and Van der Ven. It's going to be. I mean,
you haven't seen his agent talk, mate. He's off to Real Madrid in a couple of months.
Who?
Dragassin's off to Real Madrid in a couple of months. He's agent is telling us.
They're a C team, maybe. Yeah, so it's going to be Archie Gray and Spence, right? I mean, we have no options. Kalinia and
whoever's going to the North London derby, good luck.
I mean,
good luck.
Why?
Why
guys
not?
Are.
That should be
you're amazing.
Why?
You're amazing.
I don't necessarily. This is a good question, right? I don't necessarily go just for. This is going to sound weird. I don't necessarily go just for the football. I personally. So I grew up watching non-league football. Right. I used to go to my local non-league football club. It was about a mile away. I used to go and meet up with my mates. I used to play football on the grass. There was a big grass bank at the back. There was like some concrete steps where everybody stood, and there was a grass bank, and we just used to play football back there. And I just used to stand there, and I just used to talk about football with people at the club. We just used to talk about tactics and how people were playing. And that's so I grew up not watching top flight football. I grew up going to football like when it was rain, fog. At one point, there was like 30 people there. I can name every single person at the non-league ground. I've seen promotions, relegations, and I think this is a really, really good set of learning experiences for me, because now I can look at football in a very different light to people who just think we should just be a Premier League football club constantly. So when I go to football, I'm not just there to, get my dopamine hit. I am literally there. I love talking to everybody around me about what's going on. I love talking about football. I've been doing it for 45 years, just going and talking to people and seeing how they feel, seeing how the people around me are getting on, and then enjoying a tactical matchup, or hoping to enjoy a tactical matchup. That's why I go every single home game. Well, as many home games as I can.
All right, boys, I'm going to jump. Sorry, but to your point, and I'm going to go. like when I came down last season for my first game, my Tottenham game, my son, I promised him I'll take him. So my first game and like ever, his first game, he was thinking about it for a year. Super excited. I mean, the best part, I met a bunch of people like Daigle, Phil P, all of them. At the game, the atmosphere was so bad. My son, it was the Forest game at the end of the season. My son was cheering and he was looking around. Nobody was making any noise. Everybody was like just drinking beers and eating. And he turns to me and he's like, Dad, like, what's going on? Why is everybody so quiet? I expected that it's going to be something else. And like, I'm an NBA fan. So if you guys know, I'm a Warriors fan. So I used to go to games, incredible atmosphere. So that's what I expected. And I thought this is going to be better. Singing songs, this and that. And maybe my expectations were too, built up too high. But at that moment, I looked around and I was like, man, like this is, I know it's a bad time. And I know I wish I went to, the Arsenal game or Chelsea game. But I just felt like this is not how it's supposed to be for a big club like the Spurs. End of the season, completely dead. Nobody was even watching the game. Yeah, it was just
fair, Eugene.
It was sad.
Most clubs are like that. It's just that people talk about atmospheres in certain stadiums. Like Liverpool is probably quiet most of the time, but when they got big games,
it is.
That's when Anfield rocks up. It's not just
yeah.
But the only thing I'd say about that, Eugene, is Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We haven't made it our home yet. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. But
we're
sorry,
not comfortable.
boys, I better run.
You guys. Good. Well done. Yeah, see you later, Eugene.
Thank you,
Eugene. Thanks for coming on, my man. No, but it is an interesting point because obviously, and big up to Adrian. He's asked as well. Essentially, what we was talking about, Rain, and Rain's obviously already mentioned it as well. Like, where do we go from here in terms of this injury crisis? Because what happens with an injury crisis is the same players keep playing and then they just start picking up injuries, right? So does this carry on the way that it is? If we was to look at when the injuries are scheduled and rumored to come back, there's I think 2 or 3 that are supposed to be back within the next 3 or 4 weeks, and then outside of that, you're looking at a month, May. 2 months, May. Yeah. So do we just continue to get injuries? Yeah.
And the concern is, I totted it up. I did a little calculation, and against Newcastle, the average age of our bench was 21. But if you take away Paulinho, who's 30, right, it goes down to 19 years old, and that's still including 27-year-old Moani. Right? If you took away 27-year-old Moani, it goes down to 17 years old. So we don't have any kind of depth in our. We don't have any kind of depth. We don't even have a depth in terms of young players. Because why? Because we've sent all our 21-year-olds out on loan. And I'll be clear, right? The receipts, yeah. There's you say the receipts word, Luke. I've been on YouTube a bit now, and I got pelters for saying that we shouldn't be sending people out on loan. And one of the things that I said is, this is Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. They're gonna play, even if it's 10, 15 minutes. We're gonna need them at some point, and here we are. We're a really, really malfunctioning club. We don't do things that benefit us. Really, we stumble on. The club gets away with it because we're rich and they throw money at it, but we don't actually do things in the right way, and I don't think we've done things in the right way for a very long time.
No, I think that's obvious, and I agree with you.
I think the players we've got left, I know Solanke had a long injury this year, but the players that we've actually got left, just by looking at the lineup thing you put, most of them, apart from VDV, I'm not talking about Sosa, it's too new. I'm going to say this by touching wood. They tend to be available more often than not. When you look at who they are,
you can't include Sosa in that because apparently in his whole career he's been around for about 100 games.
That's why I'm not including him. That's why I'm not including him. But when you look at the rest of them, like Gray, He's always available. It's very rare he misses one. Spence, he's missing slightly for a little bit period this year, but again, he's someone that barely misses games. Paulinho, barely. Gallagher's meant to be available most of the time. Solanke, for the first time, this is the biggest chunk of the season he's missed in how many years, but he tends to be available when you go back. So I know I'm really like putting a bad thing on it, but when you said who's going to be available, actually, this is kind of the squad I'm probably expecting. Majority of them with a slew coming back.
So realistically speaking, then panel, right? Well, we got 12 or 13 league games left. We've got 12, 13.
12. Let's have a look.
Are we playing the where are we getting the points from game?
Right, I was going to say
12 left.
I think 12 games left. I think we need 3 wins. Right?
Yeah.
To get
I've already
to
said those.
points.
Yeah, those 3 wins need to come against 3 teams though.
Yeah,
that's Leeds and Palace. Those are
What
3
about-
wins.
Do they?
What about we're away to Wolves?
No, it's Tottenham Hotspur.
Couldn't beat them at home.
What about Everton? Home.
That was the only. No, we're at home. That's the problem.
Marlon
Home-
doesn't back us to win a single home game for the rest of the season.
I don't back us to win a home game.
So did you say that Tottenham fixtures, Tottenham injuries? Did you say we're getting 2 to 3 players back within the next 3 weeks?
Yes, I think in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I think it was. Oh no, I think it was Porro.
Right.
Who else was it?
Yeah, Porro should be back.
Oh, Romero would have been included in that because it's
Yeah,
the 4
Romero's-
games. So Romero comes back, and there was one more, I think.
I think we need 40. I think we need over 40 points. I don't subscribe to this whole thing about, and also as well, I do not accept Tottenham. I do not accept. No, I'm sorry, Marlon. I'm not agreeing with you on this one because I don't want to hear it from people telling me we're a big club and you can't get over 40 points. I'm sorry, that's not acceptable for a big club. You need 40 points. You need over 40 points. I expect us to get at least over 40 points. If you can't get over 40 points, we deserve to get relegated. I'm sorry, I'm not doing this.
For the 40 points, Alex, 40 points means we need 4 more
Alex, we
wins.
got
4 more points. Yeah,
3
Alex,
wins and 2
we got 38
draws.
last year.
Well, that's why I wasn't happy, Marlon. That's why I wasn't happy. You know what I mean? Because that's not acceptable for a big club. I'm sorry, right? You should not be relying on teams to be that crap for us to not get relegated.
But the year
that's
before
that's not acceptable.
Year before that, Brentford and Forest survived.
That's Brentford. That's Brentford.
No,
that's Brentford.
but you're sitting there saying 40 points and all this.
Yeah, but that's cool. That's cool. That's Brentford.
But you're sitting there saying a big club. I think Carragher hit it on the head today. Over 40s still think we're a big club. Under 30s are thinking, what the hell have Spurs done for the last 30 years? Because
that's cool. That's cool. But that's them. But
because
in my opinion,
but if we don't, because we got this big stadium and all this, that, and the other, until our board start acting like a big club, then we are where we are because of our board. And because they neglect. So we're not actually, in terms of, yes, we're a big club in that size, but right now on the football pitch, we are not a big club.
Yeah, but you're not listening
so
to
that's
the
why,
argument.
but that's why when I said 3 more wins, that's probably what it's going to take because unfortunately, Nottingham Forest and Leeds United are other clubs that are in this that might not hit those 40 points either.
Well, I'm sorry, Marlon. That shouldn't be the attitude. I'm sorry, that shouldn't be the attitude.
Because we're in a relegation battle.
Sorry, Marlon, that should not be the attitude. If that is the attitude, we deserve to get relegated as far as I'm concerned. Because I'm sorry, because Nottingham Forest...
How do we deserve to get relegated
No,
because Nottingham below us finished less points than us?
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. For me personally, we can change the argument how much you want. My argument is at the moment, if you don't want to get relegated, get over 40 points. Get over 40 points, right? That's making yourself known, right? Not just think, oh, well, Nottingham Forest not going to do it. Oh, Leeds are not going to do it. Oh, let's worry about that. You know what? I hope those teams get over 40 points because then it means Tottenham have to make themselves known. I hope they do that.
But I'm not happy with it. I'm looking at it realistically right now, and looking at it realistically in the way the table is showing. I'm looking at going. I think we need three more wins, and I think we'll survive it.
Okay, well, cool then.
I'm not saying I'm accepting it.
Let's risk Premier status then. That's cool. That's cool then.
But no, that's not how it works. But Alex, that's not how it works. Alex, it works by how many points the bottom three go down in, and
you
we have to
shouldn't
get
be
more.
thinking about what other teams are doing. I'm sorry, this is the wrong attitude. If you want to survive relegation, you get over 40 points.
But unfortunately,
you
Alex,
get over 40 points.
but
you don't worry about this because Nottingham Forest
team
not thinking
can't
about
do
it. What Nottingham Forest are doing, they sat Sean Dice, get Pereira in and say, yes, get yourself going because we need to get safe. That's what they're doing. West Ham are thinking.
But this is the same club that sacked Nuno, sacked Postecoglou, and now sacked Sean Dyche. Doesn't mean it's the right way.
Yeah, so that's the point. But now we're acting like a small club then.
Thinking about what they're doing. We are a small club.
Let's face it, Marlon. I absolutely hate myself for the fact that I'm going and having a look at West Ham's.
Thank you.
Absolutely hate myself.
How many people I heard?
But this is what Alex is saying.
We shouldn't.
This is what Alex is saying.
We are. That's the problem. We are.
This goes back to the Romero thing, right? Him coming out on Instagram. Some fans are saying it's the right thing to do. Some fans are saying they're glad to do it. The fact remains, regardless of what your view on it is, your captain of your football club should never be in a position to be doing this. But that's the situation we're in. And right now, the situation we're in is we don't really have to worry about ourselves. We just have to be better than the people below us. And if we do that, stay up. And I think that is it. That's the bare minimum right now. Just in terms of being a big club, I'm not arguing the point that we are or we're not. But in the last 16 years, we've finished in the top 7, outside the top 7 4 times. So this is not like right now we're not acting like a big club. We've not been a big club, but the facts is that actually when you go and look at it, there's a lot of teams that fluctuate up and down and have a couple of good years and drop off. Yeah. But we have been a big club in the Premier League. And even when you look at the last 2 years when we've been really, really bad, there was a stat that come out today that in 5 years or whatever it was, there's only 6 clubs that have picked up more points in that whole period. We're still 7th. I think Villa won.
My point is, though, the point I'm making is that if we want the attitude of staying up, you get more than 40 points. I don't want to hear the argument, West Ham are not going to get the points, Nottingham Forest are not going to get the points. Well, cool. Get relegated then. You deserve to get relegated then. Right? Because that shouldn't be the attitude of a club.
Alex, no, Alex,
in the Premier League.
You don't deserve to get relegated. No, Alex, you don't deserve to get relegated.
That's why we're getting worse.
That is wrong. That's why we're getting worse. You don't deserve to get relegated if you finish above the teams that got relegated.
If we get lucky, yeah. Okay, I could win the lottery, Marlon, sometime. You know what I mean? You can get lucky how many times? You know what I mean? I'm sorry, that can't happen. Right?
I think, Alex, I think you're right if that is celebrated. I think if it's
we're not celebrating it.
I don't think that's happening. I think we're just saying, just do what we need to, man. Just do what we need to.
If you, even you going, we need to get 40 points. That's the if you're saying we need to act bigger, why the hell are you saying we need to get 40 points? Because actually, you should be saying no. We should be aiming to get into the European places.
But Marlon, we're far past that at the moment. That's the problem at the moment.
But we're not. I don't even know where we're going here. But if we were to go on a winning run now and win 5 or 6 games, we'll be back up to 6th or 7th. But you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about 40 points.
If staying up is 36 points, I'm taking it all day long.
I'm thinking about survival. It's not. Alex. What you're not understanding is I don't want that. It's just that at this present moment, the situation we're in and what we've been served is I'm now thinking, where can we go and pick up points? And to be honest, I mentioned those teams, but for me, I said a couple of weeks ago, they're all at home, so I don't even think we'll pick up those points.
The one point I keep making is that actually a lot of the teams that are in and around us, they've got really difficult games. In the next 5, most of them play City and Liverpool. They've all got really, really difficult games. And I'm going, as long as they're not picking up points, I don't care. Like that's then they can't.
We got Liverpool soon as well.
So I was looking at 93, 94 season, okay, because I remember that under Ozzy Ardelias, okay, and we didn't win from at home. Our last win was against Everton in like October or September. I can't remember for September. And we didn't win a home game until April. April was the next time we won a home game. Do you know we actually survived that season because we won more away than we did at home? But that year was a threat.
Is that not guaranteed to happen now? Is that not virtually guaranteed to happen now because we've won? minus
two at
1
home.
games at home.
What's it? 7? No, it's 5 away, two at home. We could still turn that round, but in the sense of like we've been here before with relegation battles. Unfortunately, in the Premier League, we have this one and what's his name?
I think it was 1998. 1998.
Christian Gross.
Yeah.
Thing was the other time.
Ramos was a serious
No,
one, wasn't it? It was only
Ramos
8
weren't
games
that
in,
it.
so-
But Ramos
No,
weren't that
there's
serious.
more.
Redknapp
There's more
came in and saved
1998
that.
because that was last minute because that was Klinsmann. I think Klinsmann saved us.
Klinsmann came and saved. But this is But when you say we're not, we should be aiming for 40 points. No, Alex, we should be aiming to win bloody every other game that we've got this season.
100%. I'm just saying. I'm saying at the moment we should be for a club like ours.
40 points might not. Yeah, but 40 points. You're saying 40 points is the magic. Is this magic number? And it might not be.
I'm just saying that the most notorious total points to survive you from relegation is over 40 points. I'm saying you should get more than 40 points than that, more than 40 points as well to make it sure you're safe. Yeah, 100%, 110%. But I just don't like this notion of 38 points could keep you safe. I'm sorry.
But you're sitting there going, but then you're still sitting there going, 40 points. You've just got the same attitude, but you've just got 2 more points than all of us.
No. I just think that should be a standard. That's what I'm saying.
No, it shouldn't be the standard. The standard should be 60. The standard should be we should be getting 60 points a season.
I know, but at the moment I'm thinking about relegation at the moment. That's all I'm thinking about at the moment.
Yeah, but this is what we're thinking about. But we're thinking about how we could survive this without, if we don't get the 40 points, what seriously is that magic number? So you've got to think about actually what is the minimum that they have to do, because at the present moment, like I think the whole point was where we're getting the next 3 points from, but.
Against Arsenal, a 93rd minute own goal, 1-0 victory, 3 points against Arsenal.
This is where we agree. This is where we agree. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Imagine if I walked around during that parade and said to everyone that in the middle of Feb we're going to be talking about if we're going to get to 40 points. Like, this is absurd. It's absolutely fucking.
To be fair,
mad.
though, we finished on 38. Was it 38 last year? So it's not nothing new.
Yes, but the reason we finished 38 and 17th last year was because the manager was clueless, apparently. So we was bringing in a manager that can coach and that can do all of this and that. But I'm just saying the feel-good factor that was around this club that apparently the owners looked at and went, "Oh, this is what we want more of. This is." How are we sitting here debating whether Leeds, Forest, West Ham are going to go on a run of winning 3-4 games and drop us into the relegation zone?
It's where we are, mate.
It's who we are, mate. It's absolutely, it's just mental. We are going to wrap up in a minute, but I do want to find out if there's, I want to go to everyone basically and find out what we think. Who the next manager is going to be, whether it be permanent or interim. And then we are going to ask the question, the dreaded R question: Will Spurs be relegated, or will Spurs drop into the bottom 3? Alex, let's start with you, my man. What do you think's happening on the managerial front?
It's an interim for me. It's either Mason, and I'm serious. I think you put in Romero and Van der Ven as interims. Player managers, because they did well to get us that Europa League. On the relegation question, I've got no idea at the moment.
Will we get to the 40-point mark?
Probably. I don't know. I've got no idea.
Points. It's 11 points in 12 games. So
yeah, 11 points. Yeah,
3 wins, 2 draws.
Yeah,
a point a game.
I've got no idea at the moment because I just don't know where we're going to get the points at the moment. That Arsenal game is going to be a hard one, isn't it? Really, you know what I mean. So I mean that's a start, and I think the teams are picking up massively. Nottingham Forest changing their manager. West Ham have got some starting to get up to scratch now. These are getting up to scratch now.
Form guide. So Leeds have won 2 in 5. Forest have won 2 in 5. West Ham have won 3 in 5. Spurs have played 5.
And by the way, Heitinga is going to be a terrible choice. So
I'm going to say this. Leeds, just do better than Leeds, because that's all. Because they're not great.
But by the way, someone suggested Heitinga. Terrible choice. That shouldn't even be considered. You know what I mean?
Well, would you prefer Ryan Mason to Heitinga?
At the moment, yeah.
He hasn't got Harry Kane this time round. Remember that.
Listen.
Gareth
At the moment, Heitinga. If you saw him at Ajax, how bad he was at Ajax. No way. But at the moment, we're not.
But that was the second time round. The first time round, he was really good.
Yeah, he was an interim, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Ironically.
I've just looked at his win percentage at Ajax this first time compared to the second, and he done better the first time round.
At the moment,
I think if you actually look at statistics in his permanent job at Ajax, I don't think they were that bad. From what I read, I'm pretty sure he was something like, I think he was like 8 points off top or something silly like that. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I think he almost drew too many games. I don't think he was winning them.
Yeah, so he won 5, drew 5, lost 5.
I mean, I'd take that now because we'd probably stay up.
I'm sure, to be fair, I'll take that now as well. That's how embarrassing that is, but I'll take it. That's Nuno. That's Nuno levels. That's
It could be Scalini, by the way. Whatever his name was.
Stellini.
Yeah, that's it.
Mate, I don't know. So, but you don't think we're going down, Alex?
Yeah, as a Spurs fan, I'll say yes. We're not. We're going to stay up, but I'm up and down at the moment. I don't know.
Good positive start. Rain, what do you think is going to happen, man? Do you think that we're going to get an interim? Do you think there has been some rumours? Apparently, Poch is trying to see whether there's a possibility of him doing a dual sort of thing. A couple of people in the chat have said it that from other streams. What do you think is going to happen? And then the dreaded R word, is it a possibility? Will it happen for Spurs?
I can't see Poch dual rolling. He's going to have so many responsibilities in the next 3 or 4 months, especially because it's at home. You know, it's in the US, it's in Los Angeles. He's going to have so many things on his plate. I just can't see that happening. I personally, and I will just say this as well, I'm stunned that somebody in the club, because Dermot's been asking me for about 3 months after because we stream 3 or 4 times a week, and after every single stream is Frank getting sacked, and my response has been 100, because he's been. To be honest, he called it very early, right? He went, I don't like this guy. I don't like the way he plays. I don't like the way he talks about the fans. I don't want him at the club. That's where Dermot was. I hope I'm not misrepresenting him. I'm not. And my take on it was, I don't think there's anybody at the club with the balls to do it. That was my take on it. And I'm stunned that somebody has gone and done it. But the problem now is, who's going to make the decision to giving the players 5 days off so that there's just so that the chaos can happen for the next few days whilst they try to work out what they're going to do. I personally, and I think lots of people are going to be very upset with me, I personally would get Sherwood in. And the reason why I would get Sherwood in is because he doesn't take any crap. You can tell when he talks, he's going to come in. He's got an association with the club. He's already said, look, this is he knows what the deal is. And he would come in, I think he would come in and he would just go, bish, bash, bosh, get out there and play, right? And he would just make it, we don't need anybody shooting off cannons like De Zerbi. We don't need a top. We just need somebody who's going to come in and just get us over the line. So and Harry Redknapp, it is too old. People forget how much travel is involved in this job.
Key part I keep saying. League. Yeah, that's what I keep saying. If it was 3 or 4 games, then
yeah. So I did like the little memes though. What was it? Nico, Crouchy, Jermaine.
Crouchy tweeted back to that. Crouchy tweeted back to it on X and said, "I'm up for it if you are," or something like that.
Are we going to get relegated? It all depends on injuries. That is where we are. If we get 2 more injuries, we're playing 17-year-olds. That's where we are. It's absolutely bonkers, the position, and we're playing 17-year-olds whilst we're already playing 18 and 19-year-olds. Right? It's not like this. It's not like a couple of 17-year-olds with some 20, with a whole load of 25-year-olds. I think not. I think we'll stay up.
Fair enough. Marlon, who comes in? Does anyone come in? Do we just leave it as it is and just let it roll on? Because Spurs could do that, right? And then do we get relegated?
I think Heitinga will be the last resort. I think he will get it. Because I just don't think when you're looking for the 2 people to go and look for the next guy who didn't want to get rid of the guy, he's stuck. I think we will survive. But it's just going to be. But we do need to have the conversation and need to start talking about this and not ignore it like Frank was. Because these players need to know that they're in a relegation battle. And I gave you, and the problem we've got is that some of this squad, quite a few of them have been relegated before. So
yeah,
it's not looking good. But I think we'll survive. And then people saying we need to go down to have a reset, need to have a hard think. No. You don't go to the Championship and come straight back up. Don't work like that. Championship's a hard place to get out of.
Why not just have a reset now? Like I don't understand that.
Enoch won't sell if we went down, because everyone's thinking, Enoch might sell, but then that devalues the club. They lose billions, absolutely billions if we went down. So it means we're stuck with them. So I'd rather survive and hopefully they go, oh crap, we need to get rid of this before we actually do go down.
Yeah, 100%. Greatest name on YouTube, El Tel Cockerel. How are we doing? What do we think? Who comes in and the Spurs get relegated?
Right. So I think I've said it. I've waxed lyrical about it. Don't trust the 2 that are in charge at the moment, in Vinay and Lang. They couldn't fucking cook a soup together, let alone anything else. I'm going to say something left field. If you're going to bring an interim in, and that's your plan, because you can't get a full-time, or you've got someone in you're eyeing up for the summer, if you're going to go down the interim route, surely written within a interim contract between now and the end of the season for the 12 games, there must be a clause in there, surely, that you keep us in the Premiership. And that'll be the attractive part of the salary in bringing an interim in. So if you put something in there, I don't know, a 3 million clause in there, that you get paid 3 million bonus for keeping us and making sure that we stay in the Premiership, then I would look at someone like Enzo Maresca, who's currently out of work at the moment. He's Premiership proven. He's a club world champion. He had to manage that huge squad at Chelsea. He's out of work at the moment. If someone like him would take the bait, i.e. you giving him an attractive package to make sure Spurs stayed in the Premiership, then I would probably go for someone like Maresca rather than the inept people that we've got at the club already. Will we stay up? I'm kind of thinking along the same lines as Rain. We're about the injuries. But if we have got injuries coming back in the next 2 to 3 weeks, there is 12 games to go. Still 3 months left of the season. I think that if we need to get 9 points minimum, I think we've got it. We've got a chance of getting them 9 points. I look at the games that we've got, and I know football was never written on paper and that, but some of the games that we've got coming up, we have got some really tough games as well, by the way. But with some of the teams that we've got, some of the games that we have got, I believe that we will have enough. But do you know what? It's too close for comfort. We should never, like Alex said earlier, we should never, ever, ever, if we're a big club, be in the position that we're in now. Last season, I never felt we were going to go down. This season, the trapdoor seems a lot closer than what it did last season. Now, if things don't change, sorry, Luke, if things don't change, we stay up this season and things don't change drastically, we will go down next year.
Mm-hmm. I said this. I think next year is a massive problem when you factor in one of Van der Ven and Romero may go. There may be some other players that might want to leave, and then do we bring them in? I had a little look because I'm in a WhatsApp group with Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, West Ham, all of them, and there's always a debate in there about whether Spurs are a top six club. And I looked at when the last relegation was from the top six. Obviously, City had done it a couple of times in the Premier League because they obviously got their top six status from the money. Previous to that was, I think it was 4 years before the Premier League started in Chelsea. So in over 25 years, obviously City, as I say, is purely on money, but the rest of them in 25 years have not been relegated at all. And I think we've obviously come close on a couple of occasions now.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a tough one. It is what you've just discussed in terms of Maresca's probably not the guy I would go for, but I've been saying this, it's going to cost hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds if we get relegated. If you just go and throw a 4-month contract at a top boss and say, if you keep us up, you earn 10 million just to stay in the Premier League. I think there are some managers out there that will go, I'll take that, because there's a good chance that Spurs can stay up. There's a good chance I can do it. And Spurs are losing 10 million, but they're actually going to gain hundreds, because if things carry on going the way they have been, I don't see where wins come from. I really don't.
So what's your opinion then? You've asked us. What's your opinion, Luke? Who's coming in and are we getting relegated?
I think Heitinga stays. I don't think they've got a plan. I don't think they've got any idea of what they're going to do. So I think Heitinga will come in. And then they'll probably put feelers out to someone, and maybe they'll bring someone else in. But I think Heitinga is the plan, if you want to say that. And I don't think we'll get relegated. I think what we might do is we might find that there's certain games where we're looking at the team going, we're really, what's he done that for? And it's because for the next game, they're going to try and win it, almost like what we've done in the Europa League, but just in the Premier League. They're going to look at certain games because we can't just keep picking up these injuries. That's what I think.
And that would be smart. I would have a lot of respect if they did that. I would have a massive amount of respect if, like, they just threw the Liverpool game. I would just, they just throw it. I don't care. Just throw it and then go for the next game.
The only thing I will say to that, and I agree with you, I think that might become an option. The only thing I'll say to that is, I'm just saying off the top of my head, I can't say for certain, but I feel like we've done that on a few occasions over the last couple of years, and we've always lost that second game, and it's made us look really, really silly. And Spurs are well capable of going and putting a under-18s team against Liverpool, because we've got, I don't know, Leeds or Wolves the next week, and then going and getting beat 4-0 by Leeds or Wolves. So, but yeah.
And our players are more than capable of getting injured on the training pitch as much as getting injured on the on the match day pitch. So so you may well be right.
100%. The derby needs to be a statement of intent for sure. Not whether that's winning, but a performance. There needs to be something shown, I think.
Good luck.
Go on, Marlon, what was you going to say?
Good luck with that. I have no hope in hell for them.
I think us fans have got a lot to play here.
Yeah, we do.
We've got to get behind the team in the City. The City second half was a partnership between the fans and the players. The players showed more ambition. The players went for it a bit more, but the fans also got behind them. Yeah. And you can never tell, which is the chicken and which is the egg, which comes first. But they certainly seem to come together. So, and I'm quite clear. I've seen it in the stadium. White Hart Lane. I've seen it in this stadium, where the fans have decided that they're going to. It doesn't happen very often, but decided that they're going to roar, and it always gets a result. Always. I hope that hope that we in the stadium give them a rocket up. You know, give them some support as well, because
100%.
quite frankly now they need it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Kip has summed it up well. We've got hope against Arsenal. No hope.
Yeah. If Gyökeres scores the first goal in that North London derby, we'll beat him.
Gyökeres and Eze kind of just absolutely delivering.
Eze ain't playing. Eze ain't gonna play. Eze ain't touching grass.
If he's got any idea, he'd play him. He played tonight, I think, didn't he? When they drop points, I'm pretty sure he started tonight. Well, I know he's definitely featured. Guys, we are going to wrap it up there. I have been dropping everyone's links in the channel. Thank you so much. It's been 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's gone on a lot longer than I thought it was, but there was plenty to discuss.
Well, when box office comes on, it's always that way. It's never, mate, it happens all the time.
I mean, at least there's some box office taking place, because at Spurs it's boring. It's you can't say that about when Alex comes on. All you got to do is say a couple of words just to annoy him. That's why I always ask him when he comes on, "Who's annoyed you? Come on."
Hey, no. To be fair, Alex ain't been Mr. Box Office this season. He's been a bit too quiet for me. He ain't been on too many channels either. I was just like, where's he been?
Luke, I've been getting it in both ears.
Yeah.
I've been getting it in both ears from. I'm stuck in the middle.
Mr. Box Office has been trying to do his channel, bruv. He's been trying to do his channel, doing less reactive content. Think about less reactive content than doing this rubbish every single week. You know what I mean?
I will put when this show goes live, I'll put everyone's links in the description as well. So I have been putting them in the chat, guys. If you haven't already, I'm sure you have. Make sure you go.
After 45 minutes, Luke, was your answer. Just got it.
What?
He was subbed off after 45 minutes, Eze.
Was he? So he'll start against us and score a hat trick.
No, he ain't touching grass, mate.
Yeah, but they got another game to play before they play us, didn't they?
FA Cup one, yeah. But
FA Cup one.
Yeah.
No, they got another league game as well.
Yeah,
Palace. Is it Palace? No, not Palace. Wolves.
I know they've got another game, because in fantasy they were double two games.
Because when they had to play Palace, weren't it? They had to move a game. That was why in the cup. Yeah, I forgot about that.
They've got Wolves. They've got Wolves next week as well, I think.
Come on, Wolves. Come on.
So
come on. Spurs. Yeah, he should have gone today, 100%. Guys, we are going to wrap it up there. Thank you all so much for joining in, tuning in, liking, commenting. There's been so many comments. Some great chat as well. Thank you.
Spotlight on Spurs, please. Spotlight on Spurs. Make sure you subscribe, comment.
We are currently.
I'm doing Chris's job because he left.
We're at 107 subs away from 2,000. So
it's free, people. It's free. Just click the like.
It don't cost you nothing.
And if you don't like the channel, but you don't want, you can still subscribe and it just go sit at the back.
100%. Listen, Spurs is a miserable life. For anyone that's a YouTube creator for Spurs, just go and show some love. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't watch if you don't want to. Just get. Guys, thank you all for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. Links will be in the description below for anyone that's watching afterwards. The links have been in the channel. Guys, thank you very much. And on the positive side, guys, we ain't getting relegated, apparently. So there is that, although Alex is still not happy about it.
He wants us relegated.
Guys, last thing always, come on, you Spurs.